The market is poised to take out highs yet again today, guys. You can see we rallied yesterday. We had a nice battle back here on Tuesday, and it looks like we're going to get another day of this market trying to continue to push higher. Now, this happens, of course, as we have the summit between U.S. President Donald Trump and President Xi of China. That's still happening. We're getting a lot of comments out of said summit. In terms of housekeeping to keep an eye on today, probably still getting some comments here out of China, but we also have right now comments from now former Fed Stephen Myron, supposed to start at 8 a.m. I'll keep you guys posted on that. At 8:30 a.m., expect retail sales and initial jobless claims here, along with some core retail sales and import numbers. Should be a lot to discuss throughout the day, but there's also tons of news to look at heading into the session. We had even more earnings, kind of running the gamut in terms of different sectors, and lots of news out of tech. Meta back in focus once again, and the Cerebras IPO, which I don't think we should be forgetting at all here, guys. CBRS, certainly something that'll be on watch. Lots of stories to talk about, Sharif. What's sticking out to you? Yeah, building on your point, Adair, with Cerebras, ARM apparently was trying to make an acquisition, SoftBank as well, a last-minute acquisition that was rebuffed, and ARM here starting the morning almost 4% in the Ville of Red. Good morning, guys. Cisco reporting earnings yesterday. They're up nicely, about 15%. Nvidia looking at more all-time highs as we saw Jensen Huang follow President Trump into the meeting with President Xi. And Adair, we got StubHub up 13.5%. DOCS is down markedly here, 23%. So no shortage of movers to speak about. Yeah, Klarna too. I know that was what I heard you guys talking about this morning as well, LUNR. So lots to look at today, regardless of what type of stock you're into. There's going to be something on it. But on Cerebras IPO day, we have to say hi to Joe and Neil. Good morning, guys.
Buckle up, everybody.
Buckle up, man.
Joey
we got the vest on today, man. We're ready.
I guess you're supposed to wear a vest on IPO day?
You didn't know?
I have one in the locker. I go grab
I thought you got that. I thought you got the email.
I don't get any of the how you're supposed to dress memos.
Yeah, I know what happened. We gotta make sure we CC you on those.
Every time you guys are all in dark, I'll be in like something light, and then you guys will wear the all white shirts. And like, I'm not wearing a white shirt.
No,
you know, wedding.
You got the nice double button up.
I'm free.
Where'd you get that one then?
I don't know, man. I don't remember. I got it a while ago. But it's cold. It's cold up in here. It's gonna heat up. The weather's gonna heat up here. The market has been heating up at some point every single day. It doesn't matter what it looks like. At some point, the market goes ham. That's basically and it's just a matter of how patient can you be. Cisco, I could make some thong song references or whatever you want, but I'm not gonna bother with it. 15 points. Like this, it was already pretty good and just got more ridiculous. So it's gonna be a big one for any shareholders of Cisco. But there are some things, I think, Sharif had just mentioned that, ARM is down 4 points right now. AMD as well, down about 1.5 points here. Intel, and these are all pretty strong names recently. Intel, 4% down. Don't look now, but Intel, failed a high, down day. This 115 level is pretty big for Intel. If it can hold that right quick, you could have like a shoot up, or you just have a little bit of a flat bottom break. But we're going to find that one out right quick. Randy in the house.
My guy.
You didn't go to the game, did you? No. Okay, so a bunch of people, they won extra innings. Walk off.
Yeah, that was sick. Oh, yeah, let's go.
The Jays with a walk-off grand slam. And a bunch of people from the office, I couldn't go. Sean couldn't go because sport commitment. I couldn't go because I was coaching practice. You weren't able to go.
We're talking about practice?
Sharif. Okay, first of all, the coach has to show up to practice. Otherwise, it kind of doesn't work. No, but then the Jays walked it off.
Yeah, that was
nice. A lot of people around here had some fun at the game, which is what it's all about. And we'll have some fun with the market today. But Cerebras, it is Cerebras IPO day.
Yeah.
That said, and apologies to, and this is so bad that I have to look up and figure out the name, Blackstone Digital Infrastructure Trust, who is also IPOing today. Apologies to them. BXDC on the NYSE. Might be the only time we mention it, and we'll probably say Cerebras about 1,000 times today. So we're gonna get that.
I think Cerebras is. What is it? Are we calling it Cerebras or Cerebras? Is it tomato?
Okay,
tomato.
Where's the hard E? Like, I think it's Cerebras, because think it's like C-E, like soft E's, and then you have like the long A, like the ah.
Okay.
Like, I think phonetically, I think it's Cerebras. I could totally be wrong.
Yeah.
Because I think it's kind of similar to Cerberus, which is also not pronounced with a hard E.
Okay.
But
Fair enough. We're just going to call it CBRS for now, but nonetheless.
It sounds right.
Yeah, it sounds right. Fair enough. I mean, NVDA touching into another all-time high this morning, guys, into 232. I was talking about potentially 235 leading into the earnings report, and I think that's just really good for the underlying asset as we head into the report next Wednesday. You want to see the street buying it up, and that's exactly been the narrative. Neil was talking about AMD being down slightly this morning, and the rotation coming into the other king of the chip right now, and that's going to be NVDA. DRAM also on our radar as we look at this name slowly starts to come in, but holding these 50 levels pretty well. And the Poet, Neil and Sharif are talking about Poet this morning. There's a lot on the small cap land, but I think the number one focus for me personally, Neil on the floor, Sharif, and Adair is probably going to be keeping an eye on it as well, is going to be the IPO today, and we're looking forward to it. Oversubscribed, it's probably going to come out higher than expected. We're going to be keeping an eye on the tap throughout the whole day. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
The infographic was 150 to 160. At the beginning of the week, it was 115. They actually end up pricing it at $185. And promise you this, it's opening over $200. It will open.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know where it's going to open. It will open over $200. So I'm saying I don't know where it's going to open. Then I'm telling you it's going to be pretty big. But we missed an opportunity. We could have done something like breakouts to the left of them, breakouts to the right of them, volley and thunder, because Poet is moving.
Yeah.
It's a famous poem.
Okay.
You don't know about Raphael de la Ghetto?
I unfortunately I do not, but my grandfather was big into poetry, and I used to like it. I used to like poetry.
Okay, first, maybe the single most important and influential poet of the 90s.
Of the 90s.
So if you're from Raphael de la Ghetto, I don't even know. To be honest, like, it's one of those things. Like, I have trouble coming up with the words to describe how profound Raphael de la Ghetto was. And for everyone out there, I mean, whether you're into poetry or not, it's not that big of a deal, but I suggest you probably check out Raphael de la Ghetto, an absolute, utter legend.
Do we think that poetry...
And if you know, you know.
Do we think poetry is a lost art? Because I think it was great way back in the day, or no? Is that...
I don't know. Ask Raphael.
Ask Raphael. You said 1900s, right?
The chat knows.
Nice
you didn't watch Fresh Prince, did you?
Yeah, I did, but I don't remember that episode specifically. It's no Carlton.
Okay. Sharif, you know that episode. What? Raphael de la Ghetto, Fresh Prince?
Oh, from the ghetto, I get it.
Y'all know what's up.
I thought this.
Everyone else knows what's up.
I thought this was a legit poet.
Hell no.
Oh, okay.
Hell no.
All right.
You think I actually know any poets?
Yeah. I think there's going to be some classic. There's definitely some.
Robert Frost is a famous poet.
Yeah.
I've seen that in a crossword before. Legit. I'm not, like 99%. I'm pretty sure, but anyways, it doesn't really matter. Poet is going ham. We'll get off that for a second. This sucker is going absolutely nuts. They got an order from, I'm gonna butcher the name here. Wait till I butcher this one. Lumilins? Yeah, to establish a joint venture and commercial technology partnership, and also Luminous was granted a warrant to purchase up to 22.9 million shares. So there you go for Poet on the move. JKL already. Have a great day. SNDK for a rebound. And stop me if you've heard this before, short MSTR from our good friend. So, you know what? You have to admit that the crypto trade has been relatively weird. Bitcoin's still under 80,000, 79.3, but you like this for the bounce day on SNDK. This chart looks almost exactly the same as that Intel one I was looking at. Like, you make the top, pull back, it's held, 1400 would be the level, it's the same as like the 115 level for Intel, where it gets pretty binary. You've got a huge gap. If it holds, it just dip and hold right away. But if it breaks down and we're closing candles underneath on the 15, there's probably more room to run. But I'm with you on the notion that we're weak here in crypto. Like, the market just keeps on making all-time highs every day. This is MSTR. That has absolutely been right. Most days coming in and being short bias to IBIT has been right as well. And another one, here we go, Peter Hopfee. check on ONDS. Hi, Neil and Joe. Happy Thursday. Well, hi to you as well. We're going to go to Adair because we've got some numbers to get to, and then we'll check ONDS. Oh, you have the numbers on ONDS for earnings, yeah.
Should have made that clear. That's my bad. We'll talk here about ONDS earnings because these actually just popped up for me, and this was already ready on my screen before we had that super chat. Q1 sales, guys, this came out a little bit after 8 a.m., around 8:07, so a couple minutes ago now. 50.122 million, handsomely beating estimates of 39.358 million. Or even a loss here smaller than we were expecting, so losing a little bit less money than we thought they would. You've got Q1 revenue up 66% on a sequential basis, up apparently more than 10x from Q1 2025 and well above the company's estimate. So good look here for ONDS. Send you guys back, I guess, for that super chat, but just to get into the earnings here.
They're appreciated, and that's what it's all about. What is our short floor right now? We're looking at about 33%. Still short this sucker. Well, that's going to hurt. That is going to hurt. The one thing it hasn't done, though, so this is the interesting thing, and I'll point to Klarna, too, for this. Sometimes you'll get these big, massive moves. It's like 15%. You look at it on your 3-minute chart, your 15. It's like, wow, unbelievable. And then you see all of the chop and resistance that it's pushing into. The shorts aren't really freaking out till it's over 11, till it breaks this level, like 1160, 1170. You start breaking some of those tops. I'm not saying that the ONDS is way better than Klarna. The only reason I mentioned Klarna is because they had a huge bump on their earnings after all this barcode. Goes right into that first resistance where you'd say, hey, the bear flag is getting broken out. And unfortunately, went right there and completely reversed. ONDS, better chart, better trend. I'd give it way more street cred, just from a charting perspective than Klarna. I don't want to Klarna, speak badly about them, but ball doesn't lie. So watch out for, if it makes a second push, about 11.5 bucks, makes sense. It fits the bill. It's over VWAP. It's got good volume. I feel like this and Poet could be a couple for the smaller cap traders. I know you like to dabble, Joe.
In some small caps?
But the chips have been very good.
Yeah.
Like, the chips have been good. The metals have been good. Like, silver's doing volume again.
Silver was good yesterday. Did you see K-Web?
Oh, that was sick.
K-Web was it. We're going to talk a little bit about that a little later this morning. But yeah, I was thinking the exact same thing here, Neil, with ONDS. And Nimit, our good friend in the chat, was bringing us, I think the decision on the Clarity Act might be made today, so Bitcoin might be in play. But as you mentioned, MSTR and IBIT just not participating. And the fact that they're still down, respectively, IBIT or Bitcoin still down 40% or so off of its all-time high just shows that the decoupling between the NASDAQ, but then when it decides, the NASDAQ decides that it wants to sell, you see the weakness start to step into Bitcoin. So that just shows a weak underlying asset for me. And I think there's so much more to trade. We were talking about NVDA hitting 232 here today. I think we can head up into 235. I wouldn't be surprised if this thing skyrockets. Jensen and Trump come out of China with some form of a deal. That'd be absolutely fantastic. As Sharif brought to us yesterday, just the fact that they're not realizing any China revenue. It's not on the books. And if they do, then this stock can go absolutely insane. So that's why I'm super in love with NVDA right now. You know, we're going to use the leverage vehicle NVDL. We have the overall market on our eyes, but it just falls right back into CBRS. That's going to be the new toy of the day. So we're going to be using that. We'll keep an eye on K-Web because K-Web was actually really strong yesterday. And then sure enough, just how these ADR lands typically tend to play out. You wake up and it's given back the majority of the move. So yeah, 31.12, and then you're now back to $29. Maybe you'll find somewhat of a recovery. You do give back the majority of that of this move that you seen yesterday. So a lot going on here this morning. We're going to narrow it down. We'll narrow it down around 9 a.m. as we allow some more volume to step in. We have ONDS now with 9.5 million shares traded on the day. We talked about the Clarity Act and IBIT, NVDA up to all-time highs. So we got to narrow our watch list. We got to weave some of the bad ones out and pick some good ones. But Ondas, I like it. I like it. When you lose less than expected, the street typically tends to favor you, and it seems to be the narrative right now. So, yeah, we'll send it back to the S. We'll see what the boys and Adair are up to, Sharif and Adair are up to.
Yeah, in case we didn't have enough earnings names to look at there, I think ONDS, a nice addition to that group. Again, I do sort of remind you guys, because numbers were mentioned, we do have some economic data again at 8:30 a.m. That's mostly going to be retail sales, some import-export numbers, and then also initial jobless claims. So I'll be giving that to you guys at 8:30 in about 15 minutes. In the meantime, though, we talked about earnings, Sharif. Cisco killed it last night in terms of the numbers, and the stock really poised to make some moves to the upside today.
Yeah, Adair, it's quite strong this morning. Let's talk about some of the more underreported aspects of this report. Hidden there was the fact that they're almost doubling their full year 2026 guide when it comes to earnings expectations. Essentially, their orders are jumping from $5 billion on the quarter to $9 billion, kind of proves that hyperscalers no longer looking at their Silicon One chips as, you know, possibly to be integrated into their infrastructure. They're already ordering them separately. We've talked a lot about sort of the refresh cycle when it comes to networking, and you're getting that now from the campuses. They revealed that they have a multi-year, multi-billion-dollar campus networking refresh cycle. Campus orders grew about 25%. The point of this is they're upgrading their internal office networks to handle these higher bandwidth AI, localized AI agents. Good look there. And their Acacia networks, this is their optics division, much like Lumentum and some of the others. That grew at 200% year over year, as obviously optics very important for AI data centers. And last but not least, they announced, sadly, that they're cutting about 4,000 jobs. That's about roughly 5% of their workforce. They're saying it's a classical surgical restructuring. They're shedding legacy hardware roles to take on new initiatives like AI optics and security, Adair.
Cisco, the latest name here in a series of layoff announcements. Solid report. How do you guys feel about the chart today?
It's a little explosive. But I mean, you almost double that 5 to 9 billion for expected orders. Like, what? The full year expectation. It's just crazy. It's crazy. And it tells you a little bit about why everything has been going so parabolic, because demand is through the roof. Absolutely through the roof. Now, this chart, I don't think you're ever going to see something as like 100 yesterday at $100. Right? Like, I mean, come on. Like resistance at 100, support at 100. Like, it's so clean off of that. Like, such a great level. And then, of course, earnings, the explosion. So you don't have any like real key levels to work off of here. It's gone too far to consider pullbacks into prior support. But in the aftermarket, it did have a 115 on it. Not to be, I don't want to confuse that with a 115 that I'm interested in on Intel. But there is like a 115. If they start pulling back and doing the normal thing this earnings season, which has been you gap up and you're more than double digits, then we see profit taking throughout the day. Most of the good stocks that have done well tend to do more of hold the low and then end up sideways. So like the high may be the pre-market, but once it holds a low, you then get to exist in that range. So I think that's what I would expect for Cisco. If there's even a trade today, it'll be like let the selling come off. Sometimes you have to wait it at 10, 10:30. It could be a little bit longer than that as it drifts down. I don't know that it's automatically going to be the most exciting trade. We've seen it so many times. Something gaps up 15, 20% in the space, and we look at it on the earnings day, and it's somewhat of a chop fest, right? Like I think we can be pretty sure, you know, if you trade like an Nvidia every single day, you're looking at Intel every single day, SMCI, AMD, when they're just all sympathy plays or pattern recognition, it's just easier as a day trader to go back to those wells than try to figure out the earnings name on that one day, especially if you don't trade it most days. But there's that one level that I guess I would look at. But I'm more interested, allow that first hour to happen. If it catches, you know, that sell, look for that little bit of a bottom, because the market's been all about buying the dips. And I'm using the example here for Nvidia. The goal today, I don't know what'll happen. Intel in that 115, it's almost right there. So that could be a different story. But just for Nvidia, if you look at where it eventually got to, it got to 227 yesterday. We sat here at the open. We're going to go to Joe for options in a second. 225 at the open. Got to 227.5. Put this in a context. If you bought it at the open, that's a 1% move to the high. If you look at where it crested at the bottom, 21.6, right, from 225, that's 1.5% down. So in just a little bit off of the open, a short amount of time, it went 1.5% down to then give 1% if you were just long right away. I think just as an example, this is where like waiting and being patient as the market does this dip and rip pattern. Overall, it is all about the fact that it's just not breaking prior day lows, right? Like it's stair-stepping up anytime it challenges a low. Sometimes you'll hold a double bottom, sometimes you'll hold above a double bottom, sometimes you're holding a prior high, like somewhere in this range, but you're not really challenging any lower. Like today, I look at like a prior close at 226.5. That's like the first area if it just happens to get down there. But it's more about waiting for like that inevitable. Every single day, pattern dip by. And understanding that the first 5 minutes, not always the best time to be in that kind of a pattern. We're gonna go talk some options at the screen with my man Joe.
All right, guys, good morning. Let's take a look at some of the options activity on yesterday's session. A couple of names that were trending, and we're going to kick things off with SLV. SLV on that $80 strike price expiring tomorrow, guys. We had a lot of open interest and a lot of volume stepping in at that specific zone. 22,900 contracts at that $80 mark, still currently open, and volume at 20,100 there, guys. But what I want us to focus on here is a bid in the ask. See that $7, not too bad, but our delta, relatively cool, right? We're still looking at an OTM contract. We're sitting at that $44 mark. Our gamma exposure, relatively high, $10. So you're going to see that lifted on top of your delta for every 1 point change within silver. You can see an increase in the at-the-money IV sitting at 67.2%. Now moving over to the contract itself from 9:40 in the morning, if you were bullish on silver, this contract was relatively cheap in the morning. You're looking at around sub $100 or sub $1, $94 to be exact, and it climbs to a high of $216, giving you a 130% return in that one specific contract. Now, how do we obtain that style of gold? You need to buy it out of the money. That's where those real returns really start to kick in. Now, KWeb, a name I was mentioning earlier this morning, a lot of activity as Donald Trump went and visited China. We have a lot of activity at this $31 marker. Now that we are sub of this, we can classify this specific level as a potential resistance zone in KWeb. $31 is that level that I'm talking about. Open interest sitting at 119,000 contracts still open at that level, so that's a lot. We were using the example with an NVDA yesterday, how at 235 there wasn't very much open interest, so therefore it can give the ability for the underlying asset and the stock to continue to climb higher. Here, we're going to be looking at this as a call wall. Volume sitting around 70,000, but for a relatively cheap name, we're looking at an $11 spread there. Delta $38, and then our gamma exposure is extremely high, sitting at that $29 mark. At the money IV, 57%. Now, as for the contract itself, we're going to be looking at it the exact same time as our previous silver contract, 9:40 at the open, the 5-minute time frame to the peak, gives you a 549% return. That contract was worth $7. That's the very bottom. Are you going to get that? Most likely not, but shows you the real returns and potential out of the money contracts. Moving forward, let's take a look at some of the analyst actions this morning. We're going to kick things off with some downgrades. Wix going from an overweight to an equal weight by Wells Fargo, and a big time price slash here, guys, $137 to $54. And then we have Solstice going from a buy to a hold with a $90 price target by Vertical Research. Moving forward, we have Whirlpool also getting the downgrade, guys, going from a buy to a neutral with a $52 price target by Goldman Sachs. And then Qualcomm down 3.42%. Getting the downgrade by Freedom Broker, guys, buy to a hold, but an increase with the price target to $200 from $164. Moving forward, let's take a look at some of the positive things. Starbucks, an Adair favorite here, I believe she has this as one of her picks, going from a hold to a buy. with a $120 price target. So TD Cowen giving them the nod this morning. Cisco, a name that we were talking about not too long ago, a staggering 15% here, guys, with a price target of $116 by Goldman Sachs. And then we have Alibaba reporting the other day, guys, overweight rating with a price increase to $205 by JP Morgan. And then OKLO with a neutral weight rating, still down 3.5% here, guys, but with a price target increase from $73 to $76 by Citibank. Send it back to Neil.
So, speaking of coffee, I got mine fresh and warm. At some point, probably get a refill on it. And maybe by the time we're having our second coffee, Starbucks will have done something about this breakout. Probably not, but maybe. It's entirely possible. It's been much better than you think when you try to compare anything to what the tech names have been doing. Obviously, it's not going to look. Nothing looks good in comparison to pulling up like a Micron chart or pulling up an AMD or SanDisk chart. It's just not going to be fair. But Starbucks is doing very well in its own right. And if you look at this bull flag, it's got a little something going on here. Room to be able to break out the top. What I would caution with this, here, let's do. Whoops. BUX, Neil. What I would sort of caution is even this localized breakout, when you pull up, and this is a monthly chart, right? When you pull up this monthly chart, it's still got a much larger pattern where this 120 needs to get taken away. But there's still some room in this rally for Starbucks. I'm not a big Starbucks person. We have a great coffee machine here, and I make mine at home. I almost never, if I'm at a restaurant, fine, but I almost never, unless I'm traveling, go out and get a coffee somewhere else. It's just never been my thing.
I drank too many espressos yesterday, so I can't drink any coffee today.
What number is too many?
Like I had 4 of the doubles.
You had 4 doubles?
Yeah, I was gone. I was at home. I was sick.
Dang.
I was sick, man. I couldn't eat. It was horrible. It was not a good time, man. So
what?
I won't be doing that again anytime soon. So
yeah, that's a bit intense.
Yeah, that was a bit intense. I don't know why, but anyway, sometimes you just black out and you just keep going. Yeah. What's up, Day Trading? What's going on, brother? How's everything? You looking at? Yeah, it's Louise. Are you looking at the IPO this morning? Others think, honestly, it's pricey. Yeah. I'm just being honest here, guys. But other than that, Sharif and I were just talking not too long ago. I was reading up some things on Cisco, but then also President Xi warning Trump about Taiwan. Not much other than that, but U.S. reported has approved some NVIDIA chip sales to 10 Chinese firms. So that can help with the pop that we're seeing back up to 231. I wish I had some Stream Deck things or anything along with the bank. There we go. As NVDA, it's time to shine, and I'm going to be talking quite often about that one. So, yeah, I like this. This is positive news. This is hopefully just the start of things. Hopefully their approval goes through to some more firms and some more corporations over in China so they can start shipping some more products over.
We've seen this positive news before. Yeah. And when you consider they're not, as it's often said, they're not getting anything out of that market and still producing big time numbers. So like just where this could be if things, first off, I'm always a little bit skeptical. I feel like this is the 3rd or 4th time we get a little bit of optimism the channel will actually get opened up and we'll see some real change. And given what's going on in the Middle East, in addition to this, and knowing that you're getting 2 big powers clash, I want to temper some expectations here. That being said, if we're turning the corner, there's not much of a good reason why Nvidia isn't immediately, just worth 10% more at a minimum if you open up China. And at the end of the day, for the trade, we've already sort of discussed. Like I think this is a nice gentle uptrend, which is giving you plenty of opportunities every single day. But that really changes if you truly open things up. I just don't want to crack the champagne on that one just yet. Let's go to Adair. It's just about 8:30, so we do have our first number.
You see, Dunkin' Donuts is coming back here.
Yeah, they're coming back to Canada.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, guys, a whole bunch of numbers to talk about. Retail sales, probably the biggest here month over month, 0.5% forecast here. Prior, 1.7%. So we're expecting a decline compared to last month's print, but again, slight increase here, 0.5%. Initial jobless claims, 205,000 is the forecast. 200,000 was the previous print. Core retail sales here, 0.7% forecast versus 1.9% prior. And then import prices, export prices, import prices 1% forecast, export prices 1.2% forecast. Let's see what we end up getting here for these numbers. Interestingly enough, import prices we're expecting a little bit lower than the prior print. Export prices expecting a little bit higher. Initial jobless claims, 211,000. That's going to be a little bit above the forecast here of 205,000. Retail sales coming in at 0.5%, exactly in line with estimates of 0.5%. Export prices and import prices both well above estimates here, guys. 1.9% for import prices versus 1% expected. Export prices 3.3% versus 1.2% expected. So again, retail sales, core retail sales, both in line. You've got slightly higher than expected jobless claims and much higher than expected import and export prices. Interesting look here for the market. I think before we send back to the guys, though, I know Joe touched on this story, but Sharif, I think this Nvidia conversation with China, every time we think there could be some kind of resolution, we get another wrench here in the plans. What are your thoughts on this latest story here?
Yeah, it's going to be to see what kind of announcements we get from both the administration as well as NVIDIA themselves. And I also want to hear possible information coming from the Chinese companies, the ByteDance, the Tencent, the Alibabas. They're the ones who are interested in these chips, but it's the H200. We know, as we spoke yesterday, that if they are to realize, you know, that the sales that were projected to be in China for the H200, it could add about $12 to $15 billion in revenue for NVIDIA, which is basically at zero at the moment. So I expect a lot of developments, and I think, Jensen, you know, he wouldn't be going there unless there was something afoot. So we'll wait for some announcements, I guess.
Yeah, it could be a big boon for NVIDIA and these companies. In the meantime, pretty massive, I think, compared to expectations here. Import and export prices numbers. The market does not care, though, guys.
I'd love for NVIDIA. This really nothing burger. Like, it's the data today isn't going to be PPI or CPI like we had the last couple of sessions, where even though we eventually ended up higher, you did actually get some movements. I had to zoom in to make it look like the market moved just there, but it didn't. See, but if I zoom in, look at that trick. Haha, everybody. Oh no, the futures are tanking. It's all the... And then you go back and you zoom out to give some actual perspective. Look at that little trick. I can play with your minds. Now, we're not really moving anywhere on that. Much more interesting, of course, that NVIDIA news. I heard Phunware just announced a new CEO. Probably not doing anything. I remember the good old days when Phunware actually did stuff. You probably don't.
I would, yeah, I wouldn't.
But
I definitely
Phunware, the only reason I always bring it up, Phunware was the lower hanging fruit trade on the DWEEKDAY until it wasn't. Like, the crazy thing was, like, there was a point where Phunware was actually a better trade until they halted it and didn't open it back up.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So, like, they were both going absolutely crazy, and Phunware was going on sympathy. And what was good about it is you could just lead with DWEEK and then follow with Phunware. It was like a $4 stock at the time. And then there was a bunch of, like, halt up. And then the halt up at the high on DWEEK, they both volatility halted near the top in the morning.
I remember.
And then 10 minutes later, 5 or 10 minutes later, DWEEK opened up and Phunware didn't. And then DWEEK fell, and then there was another halt, and Phunware still hadn't opened up.
Yeah.
And then DWEEK kept falling, and Phunware still hadn't opened up.
That's great.
And fast forward like an hour to an hour and a half later, when the move had already come just significantly back in, and they finally opened Phunware back up.
Oh, really?
And just rinsed everybody that chose that stock and wanted to hold it for the big win.
You know,
to this day, I still complain about it because everyone here was trading DWEEK. I will complain about it on behalf of everybody that got burned on it, even though it didn't cost me a dime. It was one of the most disgusting displays I've ever seen at the exchange, because there's no reason, no explanation was ever given as to why it halted for more than the 5 or 10 minutes. Never.
You know, the first stock that I ever seen get delisted was SVB.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, that was the first one I ever. I'm like, it's like, okay, it's trading, and then come 4 o'clock, it's no longer existing.
And you're gone.
Yeah, it's gone. And it's gone.
And it's all gone.
And it's all gone. Was the dip on NVDA today, says Travman? I mean, we can continuously talk this one. I don't know. I'm thinking 250. By the end of the year, I wouldn't be surprised if we're seeing this name, especially if...
250 end of the year?
No, I didn't finish. I'm thinking 250 relatively soon.
Okay.
And I'm thinking $300 probably by the end of the year here on NVDA. So that's why I've just been absolutely loading the boat on this thing, and we'll continue.
I like that.
Yeah, we're gonna hit that home run, that Dalton Varsho home run. So yeah, let's see here, guys. The pre-market, we're at 230 right now, an additional all-time high on this one. So yeah, let's see if we can get rocking and rolling here on NVDA today. An additional gap up in a session where AMD not really doing it had its turn.
I give it that.
Yeah, it's had its time in the limelight though, Neil. Like, this is a massive move, 135% in the span of like a month or so.
I love when we poop on a stock, it's up that much because but you're not up today. Oh, you're trash now.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, you dare to pull back 2 or 3%?
How dare you?
How dare you? But someone I know that likes all-time highs. Well, I mean, I guess we all like all-time highs.
Oh.
But this man loves all-time highs, though. We got Mitch coming on, so we're going to throw it up to the desk. We got Money Mitch in the hizzy. You have to have a smile on your face. If he comes on and he's not smiling, I get worried. Ooh. But when everything is at the highs, I know we're going to be all happy today.
Certainly all smiles to welcome Money Mitch. Mitch Hoke back here to the show from Trade the Pool. How are you doing this morning, Mitch?
Doing great, enjoying it, having a good morning, and ready to maybe play some China stocks and play some health stocks. It's been a little bit of a fun time, especially riding these euphoria waves. If you're a trend trader and you're not killing it in this market, well, we need to have a talk. Let's just say that much.
Yeah, I think well said here. Let's start here with some of the names you mentioned. You want to look at the tech and the healthcare spaces today. Lumen, L-U-M-N, they reported earnings, I think, a couple weeks ago. Let's talk about this chart.
Yeah, so what I'm looking for here is to start seeing more of the communication, the equipment names start to make the lift. Of course, this can also fall under telecom, it's fiber optics, but really the infrastructure, right, of AI got a nice lift with Cisco's report. Just shows more and more that the orders continue to expand, right, the backlog, right? This is what you want to watch for these type of companies. Keep watching for that demand to increase, right? If we're seeing that backlog increase, then there's no concern of CapEx spending coming down. And this, of course, just continues to drive to the bottom line. Lumen had been making moves before, of course, and now is kind of charging up here for another move back above 10. I think this one could easily have a break above 10, eventually making a move back towards the highs on the 52-week. Can we get back to 12? Wouldn't be a bad trade right there.
That's a really good-looking daily chart for sure. What other names in the tech space are you watching right now? Can you give us some other, I guess, either subsectors or stocks that you think look interesting here, much like Lumen?
Yeah, so if you're looking into technology, of course, you've been riding the waves of the semiconductor. That's been a huge, massive rally, but it's really all about the trickle-down effect, right? That's what I'm watching, right? What's coming downstream? Right? Because there's plenty of plays to do this. This is why I think traders are looking at China, right? Because if we're doing so good, at some point you expect the China names to kick off. So like yesterday, I know I made a really great trade in C-Web. I'm going to be looking to make another trade there. Names like Tesla starting to turn in the technology outlook. What you want to be seeing, right, is that, let's say for Tesla, in this case, this stock is now going to be viewed as more as a chip stock, a tech stock, really. I know that everyone had talked about this in the past, and some people consider it an auto manufacturer, some people consider it a tech name. Well, really, now we're seeing more and more it is a tech name, and you're going to see Elon drive further and further away from auto conversations and more focusing on that this is a robotics builder, a software builder, and builds chips. So we'll see what happens. I'm looking for Tesla to get to 500 and fast.
Yeah, I mean, that honestly be great here if we could get this name above 500. But let's talk about a name that is at all-time highs and actually is poised to break them yet again. Nvidia. We're less than a week away from earnings. I know you're watching this name, Mitch. What's your thought on this play, how to play this stock?
Yeah, this is just the ride of the trend. What I would say, if you're trying to ride Nvidia, now it's time to look at monthly charts because that's what cleans it up. If you're looking at this chart, it's now a stair step higher. I don't expect to see elevator moves in Nvidia. I expect to see just continued stair step higher. And why? Because of course the GPUs will still be needed, but what have we seen the shift of? We've seen the shift that it's not just GPU. Right? This is what happened with AMD's rally and why you're seeing the semiconductors overall across the board get rallies, right? Because now we've come into the age where we're going more into the agent AI conversation. And as we shift into that, what do we need? Well, we don't only need GPUs, we need the CPU, right? And of course, why did AMD get that nice big breakout? Because it has this kind of competitive advantage against Nvidia, right? Where it has the CPU, GPUs, all in the Helios substack, right? That Helios stack is what's really giving AMD a nice catch-up type of play right back up. And you guys have always remembered, and if you guys have seen me on the show before, one of the things that I've been saying since last year is AMD over Nvidia, and that just because it could catch up. It has the faster trade now. Nvidia is just gonna be little stair steps higher.
Now, I know another sector you've been watching, I think very much on watch here, is healthcare. Can you give us one or two setups within the healthcare space that traders can use right now?
Yeah, I'll give you guys one that I'm in right now. Full disclosure, I'm in Johnson & Johnson. I'm at 227 entry. Of course, got in this yesterday off the 9 EMA, but I've been waiting to start seeing health start to make a lift. We were clearly seeing that rotation when we started to see tech start to fall, right? So when tech started to come down and the growth names started to kind of pull off that euphoria, quickly started to see a shift going back into health. And now we want to take a look to see if we start to get that to push higher, right? Names that are doing well, Johnson & Johnson, are doing well. Of course, Lilly could do a nice little move back above the 1,000 and then start to rip back towards the highs. And of course, what happened in healthcare? Well, what happened is the anchor in healthcare that was the healthcare plans has been lifted, and you guys have seen how the healthcare plans have performed. And now all you need is the drug manufacturers, the majors, to start playing in, and now you can really lift the tide, right? Because now there is no anchor really dragging the sector, and now it just needs what? It just needs some tailwinds to come in and push the big boys forward. So watch the big stocks. If they can lift, this healthcare trade could be real.
Great way of looking at it, Mitch. Where can the people find you if they want to know more? Is there anything you can tell us right now about what you guys over at Trade the Pool are doing? Where can they find you and Trade the Pool on social media, et cetera?
Definitely come check us out. Of course, we're doing a bunch of different streams, and we're even dipping our toes into the earnings streams. I've been giving a lot of previews and specific details to catch in the earnings, right? That's what I'm always about. The small details are what matter. So I'll give you guys a little bit of a nice small detail that's been mentioned in software. And you heard mentions of it yesterday in Cisco's report. Everyone's going to focus on what? Of course, the price action. I mean, it goes up 20%. They're just like, whoa, I want to go trade this. But listen to what they're saying. They cut workforce. And one of the main things they're saying when they're cutting workforce is that this is for AI initiatives. So it's a cut of spending, but it's because that money is going straight into AI initiatives. This is the new kind of hype that you'll start seeing in the earnings reports. You'll see multiple companies start to mention that's the reason we're cutting. And this really started with GitLab and then others. So just start watching for that. That could be a nice little signal to read, and then watch stocks get a nice little quick pop, right? Headlines, right? You got to know those small details and what you're looking for in the reports. Catch us on Trade the Pool. Like always, limited risk trading. Get after it.
Get after it indeed. Thanks again here to Money Mitch Hoke for being with us this morning, guys.
Have a good one, guys.
Oh, we're going to do just that, Mitch, and appreciate you. And to further that point, remember, that's in lieu. If you're going to, you have to, if you're spending big on new initiatives, you can do, there's only so many ways you can come up with new money, right? You can raise debt, you can have a hoard of cash, or you could find efficiency in cuts. And the reality is, if you look at big corporations and look at what their payroll is, one of the most effective ways to save that money is to trim that workforce. So it's not just that they're trimming the workforce, it's that they're not going into debt for the spending, which the market absolutely loves. I really like that J&J. I like that J&J chart, though. I like that entry, too, the 225. Not just because round numbers make math people feel all warm and fuzzy inside when you break a trend at a nice, even round number, and then it looks so clean at that price breaking out yesterday. But what you get is a kind of a breast and breed type of name in an upward trend. And sometimes, you know what? Sometimes if I'm looking at a nice chart, I want to look at an even nicer one. if you pull up this on the monthly chart.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
See that like chill, the ship. The daily charts are great. There's nothing wrong with daily charts, but I find sometimes there's a better perspective if you go out a little bit further. As a day trader, you live with your 3 and 5 and 15, and then you go to the daily for trend and all that kind of good stuff. But when you're putting the other hat on, whether it's like a swing or your investment account, be sure that you spend enough time looking at some monthly charts and weekly and monthly charts so that you can get an idea of the change of behavior. Like this has been a different stock for half a year and you're getting the first significant pullback to be able to buy the dip on what is now a new environment for them.
Yeah.
So just make sure you're doing that work. You'll see me oftentimes, flow to my e-signal chart to get that look. And it's really important, especially when you're dealing with some of these more parabolic moves, right? You want to be able to get a good sense of, okay, well, the last time it behaved like this, like what did it look like? Or, what was the range of the last cycle for like a 2-year cycle or whatever it might be, and just have that in the back of your mind as well.
Yeah, I mean, we were doing that. Sharif and I were looking at some charts yesterday, just the NASDAQ on a monthly chart, and it's just like at the end of the day, the NASDAQ 100 is just going to always rotate out the bad ones, and then you're going to see the stronger names be filtered into it. And that's why you just see that continuous up movement. And it's hard to bet against that in the long term. But then when you zoom in, and as Mitch was talking about, you get into the detail of things, you can find good opportunities in both directions when you are heading into the intraday charts. Excuse me. We're talking about layoffs, right? So we already had some of the larger names continue to do so. We seen Amazon lay some up, Block laying individuals off, Oracle doing the exact same thing for different reasons. Don't get Adair started on that one. But at the end of the day, this is what this whole AI trade was about, is how more efficient can we become in our day-to-day operations. And with that being said, with these new tools, you're going to see job loss, but if you're going to be purchasing some of these larger companies and you're going to be a shareholder within them, then it's best for you, in my opinion. It sucks that people lose their jobs, but now margins are starting to increase. Some of companies' biggest expenses are obviously employees. Now, okay, you're eliminating some of that. You're more efficient in your day-to-day operations. You can do more with less. So the spend isn't a horrible thing, but just understand what's on the flip side of the coin. And as Mitch was talking about, you get into the details. And as for Johnson & Johnson, there's trades outside of the actual AI boom, right? Like you can get into other things. You've seen some of the healthcare names moving. Yesterday, China was moving. I know Mitch was talking about K-Web. I think you mentioned C-Web. I'm not familiar with C-Web, but K-Web definitely. Is C-Web an actual? Okay, yeah, directs on daily CCI, that's definitely something up there. But K-Web, the internet ETF, climbing higher yesterday, now south of that $30 marker. So there might be opportunities in multiple places right now. We just don't need to always hyper-focus on what we're talking about most, i.e. the NVDAs, the MUs, the SanDisks, and the AMDs. But it helps, right? Because it's easier to go with the flow. It's like, hey, this sector is trending. Why don't I put myself in the best position possible to be with the flow and go with where the large amount of money is flowing?
But also not lose sight of where some other things might be emerging. I would be careful. Be careful if you're trading C-Web in particular. You got to just make sure you've got all your timeouts. It's very important when looking at that stock. And I just saw that we got some super chat. I just want to make sure everyone is trading safely there. Because knowing the amount of timeouts that you have is going to be very, very important. And if you know, you know. We got Rest on Day.
Rest on Day 7.
Happy birthday at Pops Mafia.
Pops Mafia.
Happy birthday to you, Pops Mafia. You share the same birthday as my pops, believe it or not.
Oh, happy birthday.
My dad's happy birthday this morning. Yes. But my dad's probably not watching right now. If there's cricket on, he's watching cricket. I promise you. That's just how he's
watching Kramer?
Cricket.
Oh, cricket.
If there is cricket happening in the world right now, he's retired, man. He's watching cricket because that is his sport. But happy birthday, Pops, if you're watching. I know you're not. It's fine. And we already talked this morning.
Never know, man. Never.
But Pops Mafia, appreciate you. And there it is. Another year around the sun, and the best part about it is you get to celebrate it with the market at all-time highs with us. Although I guess technically speaking, we are not at all-time highs because we have pulled back in the pre-market. That being said, does it really matter? It doesn't matter. And look at how far, I just keep coming back to this. I know we're going to move on to some other stuff. But I know, we were talking about this with Nvidia. Look at how far we actually dropped going into the open yesterday to move. And if you go from when we started moving, in this particular case, it's around 8:30, and like we had that PPI number. The last 2 days are different because PPI and CPI were moving the market. But for the Qs, you probably have to start from there to a certain extent. Like we were down about $6 on the Qs. And if you look at how far we actually rallied, it's just slightly under that. Like if you bought at 8:30 thinking we're bullish on the event, it's kind of like Nvidia. You didn't get, like that was, you're risking, a point to make 0.9, that kind of a deal. It was really more about when that behavior changed. And here it's like 10:30. 10:30 is where you get this lower high break and then the holdover VWAP. That's like a good hour after the open. Nvidia was a similar story. We look at Intel. Intel, the bottom is at 10:20. Behavior changing is somewhere in here, again, around that 10:20, 10:30 mark. It's an hour in. So if we see something like that today, like if you're bullish, that level of patience it's not easy. Now, this is one of the reasons why I was more focused on silver in the morning, and it's at a support level that I like, is its dip was a higher low dip. If I can find something that I like for its strength, or I like the trend, or I just like the theme, and you see it still with a bit of an upward trend when the market is dipping, it's just a lower hanging fruit, in my opinion. Because you'll get, in theory, you should get the same move, but then you should also be able to get it without having to fight the trend. So that's one thing I want to be focused on here. And before, I know we're going to go back to the desk in a quick little sec. KH just said, what about Tesla 450? Man, I'm glad I didn't take that trade.
The Tesla 450?
No. I had a trend line. It was more of a line of best fit drawn on Tesla. And for my style with these trend breaks, like a lot of people would make money shorting this, right? Like it goes 448 down to 445, $3, right? Like, bam, I actually wouldn't make money on that trade because I'd be in there and I would legitimately be holding half or 2/3 of the trade for down here. So I might get a third out, and then when it runs the high, I'm sitting on half or 2/3 of the trade, and that's not going to end up a win. Like this one would have ended up a win if I, for magical reason, had it up here. But the 450 break, it's like we've already broken 450 and gone back and forth. I think that's a trap dance level because it was insignificant yesterday. You had multiple breaks, multiple holds, like $3-4 underneath. Like it's more like it's barcoding around that level than anything else. Let it take out a $5 level above or below, and I think it'd be a little bit more interesting for Tesla.
Yeah, we got another super chat here, Neil. 20 schmackers on this one.
Hello.
Henny Wasson 2666. What's going on, brother? $20 super chat. Mahalo. Ohana TTV Ohana. I don't know what that means. Is that I feel like it might be like Samoan, Hawaiian?
It's got to be.
Something.
I won't pretend to know. So
I'm not going to pretend. Yes, but it sounds like that.
Could
Ohana
ask, like,
definitely sounds maybe Hawaiian. Or,
well, it's good well wishes. It's all.
Yeah, for sure. Any thoughts on options on NVDA? Yeah, I mean, I like it, guys. I'm talking about getting involved with some. I am leading into the earnings report. We're not really seeing Means Family. Okay, cool, nice. Yeah. Moana. Yeah. Okay. Hawaiian. Yeah. Nice. Appreciate that. Thank you very much. Yeah. I figured it was something along those lines, man. I was actually watching videos in about Hawaii the other day. Gotta go there. Have you ever been there? Sorry to digress a little bit.
I've never been. Okay. Yeah. It's on the list. It's weird. Like this is West Indian. If I'm ever going somewhere to the islands, I go to the Caribbean.
Yeah. Exactly. But as for NVDA, I like what Mitch was talking here. I mean, it's not going to be that parabolic move. Maybe you'll have those one-off sessions where we've seen it continue to climb. And it just kind of outpaces the rest of the market. But this thing is going to be a nice and long, steady stare up. With that being said, if we're really looking to leverage our positions, I'm going far out. right? It's just worth it, in my opinion. Say it's like October, even further out, to be honest with you. Nothing wrong with going leaps in this name, especially if you're going to be a long-term investor. Just be prepared. I think the way that we've been trading right now, it's ideal, right? So nothing's bad. Hold on, I want to pull up a specific contract. So yeah, we'll go 246. That's going to be at the beginning of the month. And you can see, like, if we're talking about $3,100 for something that has lower implied volatility, I don't know. It's just really, really attractive stuff, in my opinion. And what I wanted to look at right now is, from a daily standpoint, how long have we actually been broken out? So are we in the earlier stages of things, or has it been kind of that thing that we feel is a little bit stretched? And I'm going to say the first. I don't believe that it's been too long, and I don't think we've gone too far too fast like we've seen in SanDisk, MU, and AMD. And with that being said, we literally broke out of that consolidation on April 14th, so a month ago, like literally a month ago today, right? And then you come back and retest that level at 196. So you breach 200, and then so if we're looking at the actual breakout time, it's at the beginning of the month. So we're in about like a week and a half, 2 weeks within this move. So I would go the leap route, and I think we're in the earlier stages of this name continuing to climb higher and higher, because it was consolidating for quite some time. And as we typically say, the longer the consolidation, the bigger the breakout could potentially be as well. So
no questions asked about that. Long consolidations aren't bad in uptrends. They can lead to pretty solid breakouts. Just quickly, this Mobex here, Mobix, whatever, signs non-binding LOI to acquire special project delivery, terms undisclosed. So that is the reason why it's already up, although that's not new. That was from earlier this morning. It just happens to be breaking some highs here, up 40%. Another one of these runners, there's a line I like to use. This one is a habitual stepper of it. And you got to call a spade, as Sharif says. When you're looking at some of these small cap runners, the behavior tends to matter. This one is pretty egregious in terms of its pattern, pretty clean pump and dump, recent reverse split that has only gone down since then. Taking out reverse split highs can be bad. That can squeeze some short sellers that play this game, which wins probably, I don't know the exact percentage, but it wins at least over 80% of the time when they do this. Short the reverse split name. You need to be getting above $4, at least $3.50 or $4 to really scare them. So it is on good volume, 6 to 7 million shares worth of volume already. Mobex, good turn. The 50 period doesn't really matter when it's not split adjusted, but the $2 level sort of does. I just have that cautionary of, this is exactly the kind of name that has the pattern of pump and dump. So when you get your profit, make sure that you keep it, right? Like, that's the nature of the trading game. You don't actually make a dime until you've sold. Like, paper gains are great, and in your long-term investment account, they're fantastic. That's what it's all about. But when you are trading, a trade is a trade, and no money has been made until you actually cover it. We got some more super chats in here. So what do we got? We got Matthias. Good morning, Neil. What's your opinion on Wix? Yeah, they got dumped after earnings yesterday, didn't they? Well, I don't know anything where I'm ever, like, I don't, okay, how do I say the same thing differently? I guess I don't. If you're in a downtrend, I have zero interest in buying the recent breakdown, ever. For more or less never. And I don't care about, like, in this particular case, I'm not going to try to get into some fundamental case for them. Okay, great, you had double-digit growth. That's absolutely fantastic. You know, you want to see that. There were some positives. Their misses on the top and bottom weren't egregiously bad. Well, okay, the EPS was pretty bad. The revenue miss wasn't that bad. There you go. That's. I just said something halfway nice about them. All that being said, you just lost pig support on the daily, and on a monthly chart, you are at the major support level. If we're thinking that there is a potential bottom here, this on a monthly time frame, this is some support down around the 50. 55 area, which is where we're at right now. That's on a monthly chart. We're halfway through the month. That's like, see this, where this candle holds it? Look at the next month. You're still getting it off the higher low of the next month at 70 into 90. If you're making a hold on a time frame like that, you don't have to worry about getting in a day after earnings. You really don't. You wait for the confirmation on that same time frame. And look at the consolidation bond down here. That's like an entire quarter that it holds the low. You don't have to be so precise when you're bottom picking. And if anything, that just leads to disaster.
That's a monthly?
Yeah, that's a monthly chart. When you go to a monthly chart, just remember the time frame you're looking at, the pattern has to confirm on that time frame. Chris, games in trading, habitual line stepper. There we go. Sometimes these come, not Wix, it was MobX that was habitual line.
CrowdStrike.
Alexi, what do you think of Tesla? Is it still early? What's the context for it being early? You mean, we're talking about buying a dip in the pre-market? Are we talking about the chance that it's going to rally to make a final break at this 500 level? I'm going to guess, because we're day traders, that you're talking about buying the dip on this, and we're actually getting a bit of a move to the downside here in the market. We're sliding off a little bit. Yesterday, we were dipping until most of the market until close to 10 o'clock.
Yeah.
Some things bounced a little bit earlier, but some things didn't bounce till 10:30. So this was 9:45. Others were after 10 o'clock. So I'm not trying to be early on anything on the dip today. Patience, patience, patience. Patience, patience, patience. So for me, I have zero interest in buying a dip at 9 o'clock, half an hour to the open. We didn't catch bottoms until 10:30 yesterday.
Yeah, for sure.
A lot of spots.
Before we get into the rundown, why are we not talking about some of these cybersecurity names hitting all-time highs? PanW, all-time high. Right, just straight. Like we were looking at some of these cybersecurity names, the two big ones, PanW and CrowdStrike. Yeah, the CrowdStrike, baby. CrowdStrike down 40% plus each, respectively, off of the high, and then in the span of a month and a little bit, CrowdStrike taps into all-time high, but PanW breaking through that marker. So some good looks there in.
Shout out if you bought that 400.
Oh man, I wish I did. So shout out to the cybersecurity names. As for Meta, not participating, it sucks. It's not doing too good right now, and we want to stick with what's strong and what's in play. And I think that's the chip trade. You're still down 22%, but other than that, guys, you know what time it is? It's 9 o'clock now. 9:01. Send it back to the desk and get right into the rundown.
742.5, guys, is where we closed out yesterday on the SPY. We're above that already. 744.33 is where we're trading, about 0.25% up from yesterday's close. So we're going to say, that 745 area, but it feels like we may breach that right at the open. So if 745 gets taken out and, we don't sell off, we're looking at that clear 750 level as our resistance level 1. If we start selling off, perhaps something happens over there in China. We're looking for 740 Adair as support.
Yeah, and if you're looking for anything in terms of what's moving in the market, what to expect from the day, please make sure to grab this free Trader TV Live watch list. It will go straight to your inbox. It will have info on who is reporting on the economic numbers, any stocks to watch and why. So please join us over there. Again, Trader TV Live watch list. It is free, and we work on it every day for you all. CBRS here, this Cerebras IPO, it's certainly going to be one to watch. Now, as of when I made this, we had the expected IPO open range here, 150 to 160. It's all the way up to 185 now, Sharif.
Yeah, this is a really interesting IPO, Adair. Let's get into the nitty-gritty of this because a lot looks good on the surface. We need to talk about some of the bigger details here. So they have these net margins, which are very high for their industry, 47%. They brought home $238 million in profit last year. But let's strip off that one line item, a non-recurring item of $363 million, which was tied to the extinguishing of their contract with G42. That's the Abu Dhabi AI firm. More on that in a second. If you strip that out, that one line item, they actually reported a net loss of $75.7 million. So something to keep in mind. Secondly, we know that they have a big tie-up with OpenAI to the tune of $20 billion. What is underreported about that is that OpenAI also has warrants. And these warrants give OpenAI the right to buy 10% of the company at a very, very discounted price. That's point number 2. Point number 3 is that we're looking here at a pivot away, as I mentioned earlier, away from G42, right? But the problem is G42 with one other related entity accounts for 86% of the revenue. And then if you add OpenAI on top of G42, those two entities alone account for 95% of all their business. A lot of concentration risk. A couple more things here. There was also this moonshot valuation from $26 to $56 billion. It really does have a lot to do with constrained supply. The CEO wasn't selling. A lot of the top executives who had opportunities in the IPO phase to sell some of their shares refused. So we're working with very, very small float. Think of ARM. Last but not least, Adair, Nvidia does own the training market, but Cerebras, so they really have been quietly rebranding themselves as having blazing fast inference. That WSE3 architecture supposed to run 20 times faster, if you believe the reports, than the B200.
This is apparently the biggest tech IPO I was seeing since Uber's is what people are expecting. So it's going to be pretty massive, guys. We're going to have to wait and see what it actually does. Now, before we send you back to the guys, I want to mention here, Neil, you were talking about that drop in the market. We got these comments probably about 20 minutes before that happened, but Israeli Defense Minister Katz making some comments saying the Iran mission is not over and Israel's prepared that they might need to act again. Back to you.
There you go. It's not a huge drop, but like the NASDAQ is back to flat. And we look, I can't show you a chart. Obviously, we haven't opened up. This is what the IPO looked like yesterday. There's some things to keep in mind here. There's a big difference between an opening day trade or like the opening push run on any kind of an IPO and what you would swing on it. Because I saw the comparison made. This is FRVO yesterday. It opens, it just shoots up. Right? It never really breaks a low. It's just a trend up. That's a pretty clean trade. That's ideally what you want to service. Now, if you look at what happened with, I believe it was Figma, Figma is the example of, well, you know, you don't want to be sitting around too long in this thing after the first day. It's been a short. It was also one of the most impressive, absurd longs on the first day that you will ever find. So there's two different modes here. Like buying on IPOs to hold forever on the first day is typically not a good idea. And then you throw in the fact that this was, at the beginning of this week, which is only a couple of days ago, this was about a 115 they were looking at the issue. And then yesterday it was about 150 to 160 they were saying. Its issue is 185.
Yeah.
Okay? 185 on CBRS.
Yeah.
It's going to open over 200. It might open at a double from what they were thinking they were going to issue at on Monday, two days ago. It could easily open at $203. So I get the notion that it'll be overpriced. It does not really stop from just looking at the buy and balance and seeing the momentum and playing that opening push. Two different things. Am I interested in owning this thing here to hold for a year or to hold for no, not at all. Am I interested in trading it today, starting with the long side? Yes, I am. Two very different things that I think you got to keep in perspective. And I'm not saying they're going to do a Figma. I'm just using this as an example.
So, yeah, I mean, I was listening to some CNBC last night, and sure enough, Mr. Altman's name comes up once again, obviously in court with Elon Musk. But as for this IPO, guys, CBRS, this guy's sitting on 89,000 shares of that, and I think Sharif mentioned the fact that they have a deal with OpenAI for $20 billion in compute. Now, if we're going to be looking at some of the previous IPOs, a name that's held up pretty well here, though, Neil, is CoreWeave.
Yeah, that's
right. Like CoreWeave. I mean, you look at the IPO first couple of months, you get 400% just like that, right? So $36.84, and never broke the IPO low, right? So if we go across the board in some of the other names, Fig was one. Circle, like Fig is just absolutely getting destroyed, and then CRCL was a good one last year as well. But all of them, with the exception of CoreWeave, ended up breaking. So, I mean, if I'm going to correlate it with anything, it might be with CoreWeave here. A nice breakthrough, and you can see that it bounced. It held that bottom of 66.41 and continued to pop there, $137 and an all-time high of $188. But this is where we're going to be opening up on CBRS. All right, is at $185 roughly. So be prepared oversubscription. We're going to be keeping our eye on the tap throughout the whole day. It's going to be a lot of fun. As soon as we have the ability to do so, I believe every single one of us, I'm not sure about Adair, but I'm sure Neil's going to be putting in his market on open order, or sorry, his limit on open order. Sharif's going to be doing, I still can't put it in. Sharif's going to be doing the same thing, and I'm going to be doing the exact same thing. So I think that narrative will change as soon as the market opens. I think that we'll be able to probably start to navigate that.
The best venture. Part is, it's just one of the things that I miss when I love the show and the studio is unbelievable, as you guys can see. But when you'd have an IPO like this, when it was just like a full trading floor and not the studio, and now it's like all dispersed. Like, if I were to go to like some of the guys from this floor when it turned into the studio, open their own floor like 30 minutes from here, on their floor, you can hear the silence. And then like an IPO will open up, and then it's just like there's like a buzz, right? Like it's not like no one's calling out orders and stuff. It's not like kind of a trading floor where you're calling people on the phone, but you feel that okay, now something just happened. It's a pretty cool thing, and you get a sense of that when you watch with us, because like usually about I'll call it 12 to 1:30. Most of these IPOs open before 1:30. Sometimes they push closer to 2 o'clock. But the big ones have all been after 12. Like you're done your lunch, or you're done your lunch by the time these open. But it'll be on the midday, and you'll probably hear someone yell "open," and then you flip to the chart, all whatever breaks loose. And usually it's pretty quick, whether it is a rocket ship or a rug pull. Usually you know that within the first minute or so. So it should be pretty exciting. We have a better idea of where Nvidia is going to open today.
Where's it opening at?
Well, the difference is Cerebras is priced at 185. It's not going to open at 185. That sucker could open at 250. It could open at 201. It could open at I think it's opening over $200. But there's like a good $30 range that could actually open at, in my opinion. I couldn't guess. Nvidia is going to open somewhere between 228 and 231. I'd almost bet that. Let's talk about their China sales, though.
And we might know when Nvidia's stock is going to open, Neil, but we certainly don't know when their China sales are going to be able to be opened back up. We know we heard some reports from Reuters, though, suggesting there are a couple Chinese clients that they've been approved to sell to. And there are some pretty big companies.
Yeah, I don't really get this, Adair. I mean, we already know that the Commerce Department's already given the go-ahead back in January for them to sell the H200. Now there's a report in the morning. The Commerce Department's cleared 10 specific Chinese companies, included among them Baba, Alibaba, Tencent, ByteDance for the H200. So I don't really know what to make of this. My understanding was that it was a Chinese regulator themselves that was preventing their local companies from buying these H200s. So we'll wait to find out. Cantor Fitzgerald giving them the nod as well. Analyst CJ Muse raising the price target to 350 from 304. Nvidia citing reports that Nvidia is effectively sold out of all their compute for 2026 and 2027, if you believe the report. And I want to remind you guys yesterday that deep value focused firm here, Guru Focus, they have highlighted that Nvidia is currently trading at what they gauge to be a 30% discount, $220-ish rather than the 300 and mid-20s, because they're China blackout, basically zero income there. They say if resumption of GPU sales to China goes ahead, they're estimating it there $12 to $15 billion in annual foundry revenue.
Yeah, that's a massive opportunity, guys. Are you watching NVDA today?
We're under VWAP here. I just think that the last couple of days have proven pretty instructive. It's a gentle, as Mitch said, it's a gentle uptrend. Taking the stairs. It's a term I like to use when you see this. It's taking the stairs higher. It's not the elevator, it's the stairs. Step by step. Ooh, baby, gotta get to you, girl. Weirdly enough, my daughter just started singing New Kids on the Block randomly one day. I'm like, do you even know who sings that song? And where did you hear that, sweetheart? It was very, very strange, because she's 9 years old. Why would she even know New Kids on the Block? That was one of the better songs. And if you're taking the steps to the upside, you're just looking for the next place for the dip buy. And sometimes it'll pull back, and I would venture in this case, back 2 days ago to the beginning of the week, it was a prior close and a breakout level at 215, and then the next day, I was more interested in the prior day close, but then this little top in here at 222 ended up being it. So I like that channel. I'll come in thinking about the same thing. Prior day close is going to be this 226 area. So you fill that gap in, and that's the area I want to look for reversion. And if it holds, remember, it doesn't have to be, because this is how I look at silver every time I play the trend break on silver. I don't have to have the bottom. I just want the long after it's held. Right? So there's like the higher low play, the VWAP play, the breakout above the volume weighted average play. Like I'd venture when it held VWAP here, that's no good, but when it breaks it there the second time, it's fine. This higher low, when it breaks out, is pretty good if you like it. So that's what I want to see, and only because there's no other time that I'm going to be able to bring that up, I'm also looking for that for the third day in a row in SLV. Like at the open here, it was trend down, it caught the bid, there's the VWAP hold, it goes. Same thing, it's trend down, hold, catches VWAP and goes. Doesn't give you like a second clean look off VWAP later until it was a short. And I know I was short this one late in the day, but I did say, even though I was short it late in the day, I'll still look for that initial dip and rip play on SLV, just like I will on Nvidia. But it does require some patience.
Yeah, and NVDA definitely requires some patience. Larger float, more money to move this. We say this on multiple occasions, but I'm long this name. You tap into all-time highs. We're slightly below the volume-weighted average price this morning. So sure enough, I'm going to be playing any break of the volume-weighted average price right here. So any break of 123.20, it's back. Tonio, Joe, what's up, man? Anyway, so yeah, this is what I'm going to be looking for here on NVDA. Now, as for Bitcoin, I see some people talking about potentially 82,000. I know we're going to be talking Cisco here momentarily, but 82,000 potentially on the day on Bitcoin. I'm not sure. Let's be patient, wait and see. It's actually one of the first times that IBIT hasn't popped up on my scanner via volume-wise. I don't see it. So something's going on. Maybe somebody knows something, and maybe we get a pop later in the latter half of the session. But again, it's CBRS all day, every day, and maybe some NVDA and ONDS for a pullback or potential fade of that $9.80 marker. Let's go and talk about some Cisco.
It's a really solid report here from CSCO. I mean, we got beat here on EPS, beat on sales, strong guidance. What else people need to know about this report? Sure.
Raising full-year orders, Adair, from $5 billion to $9 billion. That's nearly a doubling in a single quarter. It's kind of indicative that the hyperscalers no longer just testing their Silicon One chips, but they're making them a core part of their AI strategy. That is a pretty good look. And as I mentioned at the top, there's a campus cycle refresh. So a lot of enterprise customers, typically these higher level institutions, are upgrading their infrastructure, their networking infrastructure to take advantage of some higher bandwidth possibilities there for AI, specifically AI agents from how I read it. And their Acacia division, which is basically their optical networking division, 200% year over year increase. We've been seeing a lot more of that in the data centers. They're switching from copper to either fiber optics or they're going to laser. Take your pick, but copper is being left behind here in the data center. Still important, though, for other things, copper. And last but not least, that 34.2% efficiency pivot. They announced they're sadly cutting 4,000 jobs. It's about 5% of their workforce. The company is saying this is a classical surgical restructuring, that they're shedding legacy hardware roles to allocate capital into AI, optics, and security.
Not the only earnings name today, guys. DOCX also reported. You had Klarna, you had StubHub. This is the only earnings name we're mentioning on the rundown, so I wanted to go through some of these other ones. But Cisco and or other earnings plays, are you guys looking at any of these today?
Well, we just popped. Yeah, it just popped.
Well, I was about to tell you that it was still looking like it was sliding back in, like the whole taking profits on parabolic move in this earnings season because you go up double digits, and there was some afternoon support, aftermarket, and the 114.5, call it 115 area. It looks like we're heading in there. Wait for that early dip, maybe give it to 1030, and all of a sudden we're getting a bounce. And this is not, it's only 917, so this is not some kind of an imbalance or anything. It's funny because when I saw this pop, my gut was to go over and check the imbalance locator, but it's a NASDAQ stock, so that wouldn't even be a thing at this time of day. So it looks like it was just a maybe technical through VWAP. I don't know why there was a spike. Nothing just hit the wire or through the year. That wouldn't change the mode that I would think there'd be some profit takers up top here that can get you to that 115. Like, let it settle down. I think it's a very parabolic move, no questions asked. And just because there's a decent, we've seen this before and had huge continuations on things like SNDK, and you can go down the line with a million different names. But that doesn't mean on day one it's going to go up at 930. Right? You just keep that in mind. and allow it to make some kind of a base. So I don't know that I still probably don't want to be involved at 9:30 here. Like, the patience on Nvidia, Intel, silver are still where my focus is likely to be. But yeah, good look for Cisco. You can't really say anything bad about it. And we talked about this last night. I'm just going to pull up this chart to remind everybody. By the way, CEG is pulling back pretty heavily, and it's at a pretty long on the monthly chart support line that if that holds on the monthly, it doesn't make sense. I'm going to get involved. But Cisco, when you look at this on the higher time frame, it's just different. It's changed its behavior mode the last 2 months. So you can, in some ways, you can throw a lot of that out. But remember, there's also a trend that it's been holding pretty clean. I don't need to draw that way for you. You can sort of see like the trend. And so I think in this earnings cycle, like allow it to maybe pull back and maybe retest that trend. At some point, it's likely to do it, and there's fantastic opportunities when it does. Like there's always dips. There's always dips. Oh,
there's always going to be a dip somewhere. I mean, there's the trend line break on Cisco, as Neil was talking about. I mean, you want to be a little bit patient on that one, but we've been looking at these trends, boom, off to the races it goes right here on Cisco. But all the analysts are really liking this. You're seeing price target increase left, right, and center. Job cuts, they're going to be spending it on AI. So, yeah, a lot going on. Did you get another pop there in something?
No,
or
wrong way. Silver just hit the...
Silver hit the... So, yeah, that's what I'm looking at here. NVDA, ONDS, and Tesla, actually, for a potential long on today's session. But, yeah, let's send it back to the desk. I see some people in the chat asking us about Meta. We're going to talk Meta right now. Right meow.
We know Meta was going to be doing these layoffs. Looks like these layoffs are still going to stand, but they're doing some other reorganization, once again, Sharif, to seemingly prioritize AI development.
Yeah, I kind of tell you, Adair, I didn't see that headline, so I can't really speak to it. But the headline that I can speak to is more issues with Meta and younger individuals. There's this report out this morning that internal documents are showing that Meta actually sought partnerships with trusted groups like the Girl Scouts, specifically to form what they're calling an alliance where a third party could vouch for their approach to these addiction claims with respect to teen and young usage or young people usage of social media. It kind of proponents of this story and detractors of Meta are basically saying this is a pre-planned legal defense strategy rather than a genuine philanthropic effort. There was also this other part of this whole Girl Scout thing where they required Girl Scouts to track their own screen times and to kind of create digital content to earn badges. So critics are arguing here this is a subtle onboarding mechanism that normalizes, young people usage of social media. The reason that I'm even bringing this report is because obviously this is a contentious issue currently with this in the courts, Adair, but I didn't have any information, sadly, on the other story.
So yeah, Wired basically out here reporting that the company has pressured at least 1,000 of its engineers to join a new unit. Apparently this unit's going to be focusing on applied AI engineering, and if they don't join, they could risk being laid off. Now this is significant because we know they're going to be laying off at least reportedly roughly 10% of their workforce next week on May 20th. I also want to mention, because I'm seeing a lot of comments here in the chat, lots of people talking about the Clarity Act. I've looked into this. Much like a lot of these things, we don't have like a decided day this is going to be voted on. They're still working on it. If and when I get more details in terms of the progress of said Clarity Act, I'll keep you guys posted. But META for now, what are your thoughts?
I think with the Clarity Act, the more important thing is it's like it could be today. It doesn't mean that it will be, and it doesn't mean that it's certain. It's just that it could be. And we've seen this before. Like, you just never know. For Meta, I hate to say the line, but you've rejected the 50 multiple times here. Great, we've held $600. The 50 SMA on the daily since earnings has been a bit of a wall. I know we got pretty excited that you had a chance post earnings drop to do a little bit of a break, zoom out. Now you can see it. In the afternoon yesterday, it did absolutely seem like we were lined up to potentially take this one out. I could draw that a little closer to 625. Okay, that should be 625, whatever. Drew it on the fly. And if you break that 625, you've got a pretty big gap to fill. Okay, well, it looked like we were double topping to run into that. That might be more of if we're really bullish, we do the dip and rip like we did yesterday, then it might end up being a later day trade. It wasn't the top of the list because it doesn't have an overtly big catalyst, nor is it that tight to the level. But if you go 10 bucks from here, you've got a pretty hefty breakout with a gap fill, as we were saying in the afternoon show. Just felt a little bit more likely at 2 o'clock yesterday that we'd be breaking this out this morning than it does right now.
Yeah, I mean, with Meta, it's tough. I feel like these guys got a weighted vest on them right now, a leaded one at that. Just everything that's going on in California, the lawsuits, you now have this, the CapEx, and we don't really know how Zuck's going to monetize this. He's already at full capacity via digital ads. He's spending a lot of money on it. AI, you have the superintelligence team, or lab, they're calling it. They released MuseSpark. Who's using MuseSpark? So can we classify this as somewhat as a tobacco moment here within the social media? I think that's what it's kind of being phrased as. It's a really tough look. Will it eventually start to recover? I think so, but there's just so much in front of this. There's too many headwinds for this name right now, and that's a big reason why it's not participating with this in this overall market rally. Like if we're talking AI trade, what's up, brother? No caffeine for me today, man. We gotta thug it out. I had 4 of them yesterday,
sure?
Man. Yeah.
You don't want a little something?
No, man. Don't get me. Don't.
Taste?
You're bad. You're bad. Yeah. You're bad,
bit.
Man. You're bad. But no,
I'm
like
your mother,
if
your
we're
daddy, I'm the player in the alley. I'm your pusher, man.
Yeah.
You know that joint.
Yeah. No. But in all seriousness, I just think there's too much in front of this thing. And you would think that, considering we're seeing a lot of the AI trade really take off right now, and if we see one of the companies that's spending some of the most money not participating in the rally, it's not good.
Yeah, no, definitely not good. It just, you could smell, it smells so good.
Is that what you, I didn't know what you were doing at first, and then now I realize
I'm not doing anything. I'm just enjoying my coffee here. We're about to talk about some Poet. Imbalances are coming out, so let me just fire it up. I still have my, there we go. So EROK is one of the IPOs, one of the smaller IPOs that's coming out. That's already a buy and balance. You got Nokia with a 1.25 million buy and balance as well. iBit with a 700,000 sell. They've really been languishing a bit. You got Klarna out here. They reported 275,000 buy and balance for them, and nothing else too crazy. We'll see some NASDAQ names probably start to matriculate a bit more in a couple of minutes. At 9:28, usually you'll see the bigger NASDAQ names move for a bit because their imbalances flash. But yeah, EROK is one of the smaller. Eagle Rock Land, one of the smaller IPOs today. Today is, Cerebras, I'm supposed to say it. Apparently that's the correct way to say it. And then you've got Blackstone Digital would be the second largest IPO today, but there's a few other ones of smaller size. But Poet, that is a big runner. Is it better than ONDS today as a runner? That's the question.
Yeah, let's find out here what the look here is on POET. We had some good news from them. We know that we had, when Marvell acquired Celestial AI, they ended up canceling a whole bunch of contracts, specifically purchase orders they had with POET, but now pumping back up here on a deal with a company called LumaLens.
Yeah, LumaLens signing a $500 million deal, Adair, which is good for over 5 years. They're immediately going to buy about $50 million worth of their electrical optical interposer-based engines. So $50 million immediately with the $450, as I mentioned, over 5 years. They granted LumaLens as well the right to buy 23 million shares at $8.25 a pop. That is valid for 9 years, so possible dilution if you're thinking about this one. The point of this product by Poet is aiming to fix the GPU interconnect limitations. It's going to integrate silicon, photonics, packaging all into one singular optical stack. Been hearing a lot more about this. And last but not least, engineering samples slated for release later this year, with the ramp up of high production expected in late 2027.
Yeah, Poet has yet to report Q1 2026 earnings. It's worth noting they've had revenue growth across the few quarters where they have actually posted revenue, though it's always missed estimates. Head of that earnings report, which we're expecting within the next few weeks, guys, Poet, LumaLens, is this one speaking your language today?
Ooh, I like that. We were just talking about this, between this and ONDS, and we'll probably say this, look at it the same way. Like, they both are pulling into VWAP with potential break the trend and then go back into the high. ONDS just seems to be holding VWAP for a potential break, whereas Poet Technologies, It's out and about above the volume weighted average price. The support is a little bit more loose at the 17.5, but it's very similar holding this trend. So I think neither one of them, unless they break this little downtrend since the pre-market high, is, I don't want to say worth a look, but if you don't break this trend line and show some buyers out and about above, then what are you doing? You're waiting for it to base underneath VWAP, I would think. So what did we not talk about that I have on watch? One of the names will be Intel, but I want to quickly flash these balances. Nvidia is a 500,000 buy, did not move. Nokia, that was there before, 12 million. We already talked about Klarna and eRock. That's that IPO. Intel lost that $15 level. If we're not above VWAP, support, and I even put this on a note, like actual support's closer to the 109, 110 level on Intel today. It's a bit of a flat bottom break. If we close the first 15-minute candle under $15, this can trend down into 110. And we've already discussed Nvidia, SLV caught a bit of a dip as well. This one will require patience. You've seen some pretty big dips before you rip in silver. But when it's ripped, it's been like all day long trend. So preach that patience as this dip has always been coming in off of that open. The only thing I'm looking for to the south side is SMCI for the third day in a row. Not at the same level, because it's not giving you the same levels before, looking for the lower high. And then that's got some room to the downside. It is I just said Wednesday. It is Thursday. Cerebras Day, and we'll ring that opening bell.
Friday.
That's the second week in a row. It's felt like Wednesday on a Thursday for me, and I have no idea why that is actually.
That's good. That means the week's moving fast for you. Sharif's tapped in. He's ready. I don't know if he's going to the gym here today, man. He's trying to sleep a little bit. He's going to have another coffee. He's going to type in that market order here, that market on, or that limit on open momentarily as we got Tesla starting to sell. NVDA, there goes the NVDA right through the volume weighted average price. We're talking about this name continuing to climb. Holy schmoly. Look at that one go. And now we go and break everything. Now Ondas to the south side, but back up to 230. What a monstrous pop up there. Almost gives you $1 just like that here on NVDA. But Tesla to the downside. Palantir, I know a lot of people talking about that one as it rips up to $131.
That's entirely fair, Lemon in the chat's like, who needs a coffee now, Neil? Yeah, you're right. I could literally called it the wrong day after. I was like trolling a little bit there. But that's true. You got to have your morning, Joe. I believe it. SMCI already broke down. I'm not going to get swept up. I'll just cancel it for now. If we're not going to get that chance to play it off the pre-market highs or VWAP, I can be patient with it. Silver is really accelerating. The market's catching a bid, but that's still accelerating into the downside. Intel did a nice bottoming tail candle so far. Yeah, if you can just get out and about and break that VWAP, we could have a bit of reversal. You already went over Nvidia and Tesla, I do believe. And then that ONDS. Ondas is breaking that trend. Look at that liquidity grab and then break of the trend. I don't think I've ever had the first trade be a small capper in a very long time. Not since like the meme days. Oh goodness. And now it's already breaking out the highs.
Yeah,
that's the thing.
Oh man.
It's got to be it has to be your priority. It cannot be a secondary, can't be a secondary thought. It really has to be your priority to take that breakout. And I can't pretend that it was.
That $10 break was quick.
That's what I'm saying. It was so fast. You got to, again, if you're trading small cappers, that has to be your focus because it's already breaking the high, and I have no interest in chasing it. So I want to see this close over VWAP on Intel. Prove to me that you can hold 115 and get above the volume weighted average price because today is the day that we didn't get any Nvidia on a dip. There was no dip to be had.
No dip, man. I dip, you dip, we dip.
Come on,
yeah, I know, Jesse, man. There goes Ondas. That was the trade that I was looking at, my number one. But it just happened so fast. But sometimes that could be a blessing in disguise as well. As if it just happens too quick, then I mean they're just kind of maybe manipulating it a little bit. I like a nice little slow burner as Tesla continues to move south of the volume weighted average price. But off to the races we go, right back towards that previous all-time high of 232 on NVDA. It's only going to be a couple of moments until we break it. Look at NVDA. VDL go, man. This is a big time leverage play now, $124. I remember trading this thing when it was like 30, 40 bucks, and it's up substantially here. So not too bad. Maybe we can find somewhat of a rebound and a bottom. I don't want to try to catch any falling knife here, Neil, especially if Tesla doesn't want to participate in this market rally. I want to find something that's going to be continuously strong, hopefully, and that is showing some signs of strength. And right now, Tesla is not that one. So yeah, Cerebras price. I don't know if it. Yeah, let's do that right now. Let's see if we can.
You should be able to.
Now we should be able to CBR.
I can confirm you can now get locates, which means you should be able to put the order in. You don't need to have the order in yet. You don't need to have
No, you don't. And I don't have any tap. I don't have a tap on it either.
It's too early.
It's too early. Yeah, it's
9:33. It's not going to open. Cerebras is not going to open for hours, everybody.
Yeah.
Like, we'll be good. It's absolutely fine.
Yeah.
Silver is really tanking now. Okay, SLV is getting down into some support levels, and I kept saying preach patience. Down at around 75, 76. You've broken that 77. Nvidia is not really dipping. Intel is not showing me any signs yet of catching that V-shaped bid. It's only 934, and yet already I said be patient with this one because there's room to get down to 110 before the long is any good. And I'm already itching to get it above VWAP and take it breaking out. Now a hold of VWAP would be the 115. If it can break 115 bucks, that would be a VWAP hold. Now, is SMCI gonna fill? No, SMCI is not coming back up to fill me on the short side at all. So gotta focus on, again, I'm only really looking at Intel, Nvidia, silver, a little bit of USO just to be sure. And some people are saying ARM and DELL are going. Get up, because we just recently bought this. No, already pulling back in is ARM.
Yeah, and Tesla's still continuing to slide here. I mean, Ondas, we're talking about things moving too fast, too quick. Sure enough, it just pulls back. Now bouncing off the volume-weighted average price. This might be a good opportunity for us to get involved on this one, especially if we hold. Oh, there it is. All right, let's get a little bit here. Nothing crazy here on ONDS. Let's get involved to see if we're going to hold this up. If it breaks the volume-weighted average price, we're at a dodge on this one. It's Starly. There we go. Bang. There's our entry on that. If it breaks 10 bucks. See you later, AC Slater, as we would like to typically say. This one's volatile, guys, so be cautious. That downward momentum is totally in play. That's why we're going really small. Half a risk unit here, as Sean would typically say. So half an hour, what we're putting on this one. If it breaks VWAP, ONDS, let's pull it up so you guys can see what we got going on here. We're in right at the volume-weighted average price, right where we want to be for any form of a slingshot move back up. But with this heavy rejection of those levels, we always have to be cautious on what we got going on right now, Neil.
Yeah, Ondas is on the mind, and there we go. We're actually, Intel with a break. Shoot, I was on, sorry guys, I gotta show you what I'm actually in and not the stock that we were just getting some orders on. Intel with the break above that 115 level, scalp into the high, try to reload it off of VWAP. So again, I thought dip buy was going to be the thing, but instead it ends up being like that wick bottom through 115. So the wick bottom through 115, the hold back above, we'll buy dips, playing it back into this top here in Intel. Nvidia, you would have just seen my screen on Nvidia because I'm on the bid to try to catch this one off the volume weighted average price as well. So already into Intel, still looking for the low on SLV. I mean, the market's going ham. Ham's the wrong word. The market's going up back into some of the highs, and really silver, which it's done this before. 3 days in a row, the stock has gone down before it's really given you a big long. 3 days in a row, we're just going absolutely ham here on SLV. We just picked up Nvidia. I got to stop looking for the bottom on silver and sort of focus on the ye old brass tacks, as I like to say, because Nvidia just dipped into the volume-weighted average price to get us in for the first time here today. So in Intel, Nvidia off VWAP, still no bottom here in silver at all. Is the market breaking out now through some of the highs?
Yeah, absolutely. And this trade here on ONDS, you just get out at the breach of the volume-weighted average price as it heads towards this support level. If it's going to curl around, then we'll be patient. We have Tesla starting to find a bottom at 444 there, so that's not too bad of a look. Neil's long some NVDA. I think that's the smarter play. This 5-minute indecision print is just not a good look here on this specific name, and I talked about, hey, there could be some warning signs. So I'm glad that we just took a small attempt on it to see if it was going to get any form of continuation. At this point, I think it's going to be a fade here to the south side on ONDS, breaking through some support. We can take an additional attempt short as it's heading a little bit lower, but I think just considering, I wonder if we need to order locates for this thing here. If you figure it out.
ONDS?
Yeah.
My guess would be yes, but I did not.
No, okay, yeah. So we're in the same thing. Yeah, half
Get
a
up,
risk.
Intel.
Yeah, half a risk unit here on ONDS, see if we can get a break of that support level. And then sure enough, what we're going to see is Tesla start to climb. Bang, there goes, I don't even have anything. We don't got anything. Bang, there goes the ONDS to the downside, guys. I think this one's going to be a fade considering we didn't get any continuation. No VWAP buyers stepping in right there. So we flip the script as ONDS starting to slide. We'll take that one all day, making back a little bit of what we just lost there.
So very quickly, we're able to get the VWAP all the way to the high on Intel. So quick as you like, breaking back that 115. I'm sitting back at the volume-weighted average price there. On Nvidia, that bounce see, this one doesn't look as bullish. Okay, Nvidia is going to try to retest this wick. So it bounced VWAP. Sorry about that wick. I tried to get rid of it, and it came back. So my scaling, I have to really zoom in to make the scaling work. We pulled into the 231.5 zone. And are just bouncing back and forth off VWAP. But that's actually not as strong as Intel. I thought Nvidia would be stronger off the open than INTC. So let's see closes above VWAP or there's no adding back in, right? Like not on the down push. The push is 230.5. 231 is VWAP, so no adding unless it's holding VWAP on this bad boy. Just do not want to let this one get out of hand, as they say. And as I mentioned over there with Intel, if we get a VWAP dip, great. Basically played, I thought we'd be going dip buy on Intel, possibly into 110. Thought we'd fill that gap in on the 15-minute, which is actually even further. And we ended up with a breakout trade instead. So breakout into the high, look for the pullback, be able to take it. And now silver is starting to show some signs of life. All right, here comes this trend break. Yeah, Nvidia just dumped out that $0.50. So it looks like Intel was just stronger. I thought Nvidia would be stronger than Intel. So I'm out of the Intel one, which is still going higher. But I'll wait for the actual dip buy over there in Nvidia. But I got to get into silver next. Those are 3 stocks I've been watching off the open. And if this finally breaks the trend, SLV 2 days in a row has been, like, for me, the best long because of that trend break. But this is a little heavier than it was the last 2 days.
Absolutely. Yeah, so there we go. We get that nice clean flush. We like it when it happens relatively quick. I mean, we're thinking the longs and just going with the price action. I was like, okay, yeah, if we're not going to get any form of continuation and VWAP buyers really starting to step in, sure enough, at 996, we take that short, we take some off right here, guys, and then maybe we can get some form of a continuation. The price target could be easily 937 on this one, so let's be patient. At some point, we will get a pullback. There is a channel that's starting to be formed here, Neil, on NVDA as I'm looking to the downside. So lower highs consistently on the 1 minute time frame. Yeah. So if we break that, but there is some inverted hammers on the 5 minute right at VWAP. So that could display some weakness. The market is going higher. NVDA, okay, there it goes. There's the trend line break, Neil. Oh, you're not in it on NVDA anymore. Yeah, we should hop back in on this one. Tesla going oppo taco right now, but a big time break on NVDA as it screams right back up to 231. Market going higher. I want to see what Meta and company are doing before we send it over to Adair. Probably some important news there. Meta not doing too much. Adair, what do you have?
I want to clarify, I have yet to be able to verify this, but DELL is spiking to the upside. Quiver Quant reporting that President Trump just filed his personal trades, and one of them is DELL as a buy. So DELL, a company where President Trump has tried to get people to buy their products multiple times. Apparently, is it his personal holdings? DELL pushing higher again. I have no backup of this. The stock is moving on this catalyst I wanted to mention. Back to you.
Ooh, yeah, I'd say that's probably a pretty good catalyst. It's too far gone. That's not a headline that I would particularly want to chase, but it's very, very tempting on that. It is what it is. Look, you can say whatever you want. We're not here to talk politics, but if it makes the stock go up, you got to be at least somewhat interested in it. I just don't think it's a little bit far to chase that kind of a headline. Ivan Johnson, love what you do. What do you think of CoreWeave today? I got to cop to this. I have not looked at that today, CoreWeave. Been sort of focused on a few other names in the space. Let's see if we can do some work. Silver's still going down. Intel's not really pulling back to be able to find it. Yeah, that's not bad. Liquidity grab under 110 a couple of days ago, a small one, so another higher low there, into a potential but hasn't broken yet top. But if it's bullish, you take out that 114, maybe you got a little bit of something there. Meta, by the way, Meta, nothing doing. There's no break of that 625 level. That just seems like it's going to be a bit of a nothing burger for Meta, unfortunate. That's disappointing.
For Meta?
Well, I thought with the market moving up that was going to make that break. But now SLV is heavy into this low. So it's been lower. This is now where I got to, if I'm not going to get the dip buy in either of those two chip names to get back into them, then I'm going for the trend break here. You got a super chat for some options on Poet.
Yeah, let's get right into
$20.
But what's really kind of piquing my interest right now, Neil, is what is moving the market higher aside from NVDA? Because if you go throughout the rest of the Mag 7, Apple to the downside, Microsoft to the downside, Google to the downside, everyone to the downside here with the exception of one who just put in a new all-time high, I believe, here on the day. Did we break that previous pivot? Yeah, so bang, and new all-time high right there on NVDA. All right, yeah, let's pull up some options chain here on Poet. We're still sitting in this ONDS trade. It's not breaking. There's a big resistance zone at our support level right there at 970. So let's see if we get any form of curl over. If I get stopped out break even, so be it. We take half off right at the low. We just flip. I don't typically do that, flip the script that quick, but I'm like, if we're not going to climb higher, as obvious as this may sound, because a name that's extremely in play, it's like if we're not going to find any continuation at the volume weighted average price, I think at some point we'll get that breakdown, and sure enough, we got that strong flush. So let's see if we can continue to the south side here on ONDS. Potentially a target of 938, and that's going to be where we had that initial volatility spike within that. Now, moving forward, let's head over to Poet, and you didn't even know it, $20 options, Shane. Let's see what we got going on, POET.
You just pulled back off 20, by the way.
Did it? Yeah, let's see what we got going on. Yeah, makes sense, right? Here, Neil, because this is the largest amount of open interest that we see on this specific name throughout this expiration cycle, 1 DTE. Here we go. We're going to get stopped out break even here. Okay, nice rejection there on ONDS, but as soon as it comes back to 96s, I should trail out a little bit earlier, but I'm not going to allow this to come against me just in case it does want to recover. So I have to be prepared to get out when we're supposed to. But as for ONDS, you can see that there's a big supply zone, and as Neil just mentioned, it was really tough for this name to break through. So there we go. We're all out of ONDS. We take half off there. We cover some of this loss right there, but then we were looking for a runner and a break of 970 for that all-day trend, but that wasn't necessarily the case. But Poet, $20 supply zone there, Neil.
Raising. I'm now into the trend break finally on SLV. We've got thoughts on Ford. Where would you buy in or would you leave it alone? Well, I'm de facto leaving it alone today. After yesterday's move, just very quickly, SLV, bottoming tail candle, other bar break, stopping underneath that. No, I'm good.
You're good?
Yeah, I appreciate you. Yeah, thanks, Joe, but I'm good. So anyways, just similar sort of trend break, bottoming tail trade over there on SLV. Was waiting for that bottom. Ford, I'm not the biggest fan. So like I like GM a little bit better. It's a good story the other day. That said, you're going into some pretty hefty resistance. There's a bunch at 15 if I zoom the chart even further out. So it's a little bit crazy on the longer term trying to get into it. On the day trade, hey, VWAP's not a bad idea. That usually works out pretty well if you pay attention there. Just quickly before we get to another super chat, there has not been a dip. Intel does not dip the pre-market highs. A little bit stronger. We weren't dip and rip today. We were quickly a breakout trade, so want to be back into that one. The other name that I'm actually just sitting on the bid is VWAP here on Nvidia. Do want to get into that. I do have one place that I was considering short. That was SMCI, and it is starting to set up. There's the break of the high. If you show me a topping tail like this on a downtrending stock, then I'm looking for the short side of the trade. Jedi Singh, Cerebras game plan, requested allocation shares. Oh, so you're getting in at well, if you get 185s, right, if you get an allocation, you can't really sell right away. Depending on how things look, the only decision I have, don't fall so fast, the only decision I have with Cerebras is whether I want to take like full size on it or drop down to like half size or something. And that will be dependent on what I think the imbalance is looking like in the open interest, like as it goes. If I don't like what I see, then maybe I take 50% or something. But I'm default to just saying I'm gonna go all in at the open. I can have my mind changed. Like I'm not I'm not going to be that stubborn about it. But yeah, it's really, for a day trade, it's really just play the open off of the first support level and then see how much of momentum we have. But I care about those imbalances as we start to come in. It's way too early to look at them now. They're pretty insignificant this early in the day. So first time, and maybe the only stock that I'm looking short as the market continues to scream higher, is SMCI. Nvidia is doing a little bit of a dip. Might get a chance to get into that one as well. You just scarfed something down pretty quick. Whatever that was, Joe just inhaled it. I don't know. I don't even know what it was. Before we go back to Joe, we'll let him finish that. AMD is actually pumping harder than Nvidia right now.
Yeah, NVIDIA
much stronger move up. And as a matter of fact, Nvidia is starting to come back into VWAP, so I might actually get picked up in here on Nvidia. But AMD is the one at the actual high.
Those are Samosa, man. Those things are.
Oh yeah, they're pretty good.
My favorite. Yeah, I like those here.
Yeah, those are solid.
Yeah, NVDA coming in pretty aggressive, guys. We were talking about Poet not too long ago in supply zone at that $20 marker. Let's pull up ONDS and see what we got going on from a supply zone, because if we're bouncing off that 970, what do we have at $10 on the put side for potential support? I mean, okay, that makes a little bit of sense. $9, right? So 29,000 on that side. That's pretty large. That's going to be some of the largest that we're seeing. So you can see that we get that bounce off of that level. We couldn't breach it, which is okay, and $10 as well supply throughout that neck of the woods. So yeah, we're gonna be patient and wait. I mean, we're starting to form somewhat of a base here on Tesla, but this could be a consolidation before we take an additional leg lower, because you can see that we're trading below VWAP, and we haven't broken this trend yet. So there's a couple trend breaks that Neil and I were both looking at, and NVDA just went so quick at that break of that 231 level and just off to the races it goes. Now we're starting to come back in here on ONDS. Maybe we take a second attempt on the short and then Tesla and the market. I was talking about what is driving us higher here, with the exception of obviously NVDA before it started to pull back in a little bit. But I'm looking across the board as Amazon. Okay, that's starting to get a little bit stronger. Excuse me there. Amazon a little bit stronger. Google was to the downside now north of VWAP. Microsoft was continuously selling for quite some time. Where's it? Softy right boo there. Microsoft. Yeah, boo Microsoft is right. But I think this is a name that's just a little bit overdone, Neil. I don't know how you feel about that. I mean, we're talking about one of the largest companies, the third largest company on the planet at this point, that's just getting absolutely beaten to a pulp.
Is there an sound issue? Let us know if you can hear properly, Joe, there.
No audio?
Some people were saying no audio in the chat.
No sound?
Let us know if that's okay,
I'm tapped in. I'm live. Assassino. Refresh. You can hear. Okay, some people say you can hear. Yeah, okay, it's fine.
You're good.
I hear my boy. All right, nice. Good to hear, Ray. So yeah, let's take one more attempt on this ONDS trade to see if we're going to get a breakdown and continuation. We didn't get as good as a price as last time, but if we break this level right here, so that's about 14 cents worth of risk, a little bit more, 15 cents. If it cracks, then we just get out of Dodge. But reload on this one for a continuation and a retest of the low of the day.
Yeah, and speaking of, Nvidia just popped a second time off VWAP, but it's riding this trend. It's early for a trend line, but it's already starting to ride a bit of a trend line here, just above the volume weighted average price. Again, kind of in on the, scalps them out because we're in on the front end instead of after it bounces, but it's bounced so hard that first time. All right, now we're looking like another bounce. How much do we have till the close of this deal? Yeah, that'll still be another minute to go on that bad boy. So I want to give it a little bit more time. The other thing, I'll pop over to SLV. Like that went one leg up and is already starting to come back in. So it might be a bit early with this. It's going to give it right under here. Not going to give it too much room because we're still a pretty heavy trend into the downside. SMCI still where it was before. But it's really just this Nvidia on that trend line, which I didn't save. And now I got to throw in there again. Along those lines, it's close enough. So it looks like we're really riding it. You break, I'm getting out. I'm not thinking short on Nvidia just yet. And to those that were mentioning, someone said, Neil, what are you talking about? AMD's not stronger than Nvidia. It's up a bigger percentage. Nvidia's up a bigger percentage. This is what I mean. There's more to like the percentage that a stock is up or down from the prior day. There is also the momentum that it has in it. So that has to be a part of your game plan as well. So SLV, first shot at it, keep it relatively tight, like that bottoming tail wick. But I'm willing to, wherever this turns, I'm just looking for whatever downtrend break it wants to give me on SLV. 2 days in a row, that's been the jam for me. And 3 days in a row, SMCI has been an easy short. But again, tight stop. This is a bit stronger than it was. Like, look at yesterday. Sorry, look at yesterday, straight down, one pop, one fade, couple of pops and fades there. SMCI a little bit stronger, but it's the same like entry, give it to the high, and don't try to give it any further. I will jump back in like we did 2 days ago, as long as that's a topping tail candle. Give it a chance to work. SMCI, I'm a little bearish on the stock if you can't tell.
Yeah, I mean,
it's sort of the way I always look at it. When you get, if a stock that I think is a weak stock does this kind of a thing, where it's like a false high, then I think that's a reversal candle, and then you find support to resistance, you short it, and then you short it as a default until it doesn't look like it's good anymore. So if you go 2 for 2, I'm doing it on the third day if it sets up, and if I'm red on the third day on it, then fair enough, then I'm 2 out of 3. I'm just all about playing the percentages.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we're still sitting in this trade. We got that initial breakdown, but I think at this point, what we wanted to see established was a lower low, and we bounce off it now, printing a higher low, which isn't good. Now, if we sell off a little bit here, then we want to see that $9.80 marker break and us head towards that $9.70. If it heads towards VWAP, then we get out of Dodge on this one. We're not going to mess around with it. Why? Because what I'm thinking is potentially going on is some options pinning. All right, so you have so much on one side of the call spectrum and then the other on the put side, and just the underlying is just stuck in limbo. It doesn't really know what to do. You have so much activity going on when you have equal amounts of size, and I feel like that's kind of what's going on. Tesla heading right towards the low of the day, about to establish a new one here, guys, breaking through the support level, not having the ability to snap this trend. So Tesla, boom, there it goes, 442.60. And a day that we were thinking potentially long hasn't been the case. We did print all-time highs here, 233 on NVDA, but now starting to head towards the volume-weighted average price. But new LOD right now for Tesla as the market is starting to break through VWAP. This is the SPY, and then sure enough, we have the Qs here. So yeah, this might be my green light. Like yeah, there it is. We're gonna get out. We're not gonna play around here with ONDS. You can see that we have consistent higher lows. So yeah, it is what it is. You take a little bit of a loss on that one. So we go 1 for 3 on the trade. But we're down just a little bit, just a couple of haircuts, paper cuts, I guess I should say, on this one. And then we'll put it to the side, right? I took my 3 swings on it, and that's it. Whereas we'll put something else on our chart to see. Yeah, exactly, VAR show. We didn't hit the Grand Slam on ONDS here. But I think we can have a good opportunity in Tesla and within the chip trade as well, as we're holding up at 231 on NVDA.
Yeah, it's really holding the line here on Nvidia. Better than we said. If the third day is going to be red, there's SMCI breaking the high. Nvidia is still holding the line off the volume-weighted average price, but it's not doing that crazy smash up to the high that we're seeing. But I got to slap the fail. On day 3 of Operation Short SMCI at whatever the heck the open price is, and why not? And this DELL thing, okay, we brought the news to you from Adair. Man, am I glad I didn't chase that move. Like, yeah, well, does that really seem like the kind of headline that makes you want to chase? Not really. I'm not saying it's a bad catalyst, because I think it can be a perfectly fine catalyst. That president likes something, likes a stock goes up, but not necessarily enough when it's already so parabolic in a general sense. So yeah, that's kind of crazy. Ford apparently is going ham again, still at $14.50, I should say. If this was at $4.50, we'd all be crying, because bad things would be happening. Ford has been parabolic 2 days in a row now.
Yeah, been strong.
It was more, but this was more steady, I feel like, yesterday. This one is very, very top heavy. Sam's, I do have some thoughts on CEG, but I promise at some point I'll get into that one. I really don't like the price action on CEG the last couple of days, but I still want to find myself involved in it. I just don't like the higher time frame chart yet. There's some things I want to see on the monthly chart that if it can hold this month, then I'm good to go. I believe I hear we're going to be going to Adair. As Nvidia is doing the VWAP dance, it's not shooting off the volume-weighted average price like it was before, though. Adair?
We do have business inventories in a couple minutes, so I'll be brief here, guys, before we get to happening now. But Trump disclosing apparently over 3,800 transactions in Q1. The largest were $5 to $25 million sales each of Meta, Amazon, and Microsoft, all on February 10th. Also selling $1 to $5 million worth each of Netflix, Palantir, the VOO ETF, and a couple other ETFs. Largest purchases, which again, $1 million to $5 million of each name. You've got Nvidia, Apple, Oracle, Broadcom, Adobe, ServiceNow, Workday, Synopsys, Cadence Design, Microsoft, which he bought after selling, Amazon, which he also bought after selling. I'm not seeing Dell here, at least not as one of the larger purchases, but once again, I was also seeing talks that he was involved in Dell. So we have my President Trump's reported filings here for Q1. If I get more details, I'll let you know. I'll see you in a couple minutes for numbers.
Yeah, there goes ONDS to the downside. I mean, we get out, man. We were that top wick right there, Neil, and sure enough, it's heading right towards the low of the day. I think at this pace, it's going to break it. So, yeah, it's unfortunate. I'm still looking for the tap on
It's you know what? I don't see it either, but it's still so early. Remember on Cerebras, it's very, very early. No major IPO has opened up before 10 o'clock in the last decade that I can remember. So let's not get all worked up. But I am going to be a little bit cautious. Oh, you've got to be kidding me. This is why, and people get on me for always being short, but like that's why I'm always looking for shorts in this stupid thing. I just got top wicked on SMCI, and by the way, Nvidia was just breaking back out. It was through 232. We're getting the half, and the second I was getting filled, I was actually filled once, was looking for another exit. We're now breaking right back into VWAP. We're on the precipice. Like now, that's losing the volume-weighted average price. So a couple of scalp trades on Nvidia, but no real follow through there. There wasn't that juice. So we break the trend. I was willing to buy it in front of that trend line, take the scalp trades where we get it, but that fourth salvo in there just not going to end up working out, and should have stuck with the short on SMCI.
Market really coming in now.
When a stock is trash, I said I was willing to be wicked out and jump back in, but I didn't jump back in that time. That's how it is. You know, if the market doesn't care what previously happened, or where you got out, or that you made they don't give a rat's you know what. If it's a setup, you just take the setup.
You just take it.
You just take the setup.
With the,
I said I was willing to take, did not take the third shot at it, and now, of course, that's the one that's going to be good. We're going to go back up to Adair. Man, SLV still going down. The market's not dying, though. I don't think we're...
Look at Tesla go right there.
Up?
Yeah.
Good. To Adair.
On low volume, yeah. Adair.
Just got numbers, guys. They are flat here. It's exactly what we were expecting. U.S. business inventories month-over-month, 0.9% versus 0.9% expected. We know earlier today we had a whole bunch of data, mostly hotter than expected import and export prices. But again, this number at 10 a.m., kind of a nothing burger, for lack of a better term, is coming out here. Again, 0.9% versus 0.9% expected. We will get Fed speak later today, kicking off with Fed Schmidt in 15 minutes, 10:15 a.m. Then we'll get Fed's Hammock at 1, Fed's Barr at 5:30 p.m., so this is after the close now, and Fed's Williams at 5:45 p.m., so most of this Fed speak after the bell. NASDAQ bouncing a little bit here as we get this number. I also mentioned we had a whole bunch of stock purchases apparently made by U.S. President Trump, as well as sales, both selling and then buying Amazon and Microsoft last quarter. Let's take a look here at some of these earnings plays on watch. DOCS did come out here. They missed on EPS. They beat on sales. Not a well-received report, to put it mildly. But CSCO, at least initially, well-received, already giving some of this back. We had a solid report and strong guidance for Cisco, but they are laying off some employees. So earnings, once again, here, guys, on watch. And if you want to know what other stocks are on watch, including Cerebras with its IPO, make sure to join us on Trader TV Live. Back to you.
Very much, Adair. Well, you know what? What would your trading look like, everybody, if capital was not a constraint? Well, that's a reality for most traders, right? It's not skill holding you back. Oftentimes, it's the ability to have size. Trade the Pool is changing that. Step into the U.S. equity markets with up to $200,000 in buying power without committing your own capital. Full access to stocks and ETFs, long or short, with precision and freedom serious traders expect. And You should expect it. Your performance is measured by one standard and one standard alone: disciplined risk management and consistent execution. Meet the standard and you operate at scale. No subscriptions or ongoing obligations, just a clear path forward. For those ready to trade beyond limitations, this is the next level. Visit tradethepool.com and use the code TRADERTV to get 10% off. Get a deal. Shout out to Mitch. We had Mitch on this morning. Always a fun guest. We actually, I think we sort of agreed on, it was a J&J chart, which is not something we look at very often. J&J is kind of a boring, good long-term stock. Went to the next. Oh my goodness, thank goodness we didn't go back to SMCI.
Yeah. Oh, they just decided to
See, if I FOMO this one, right? Like, oh, I missed this candle. If I miss this candle down and FOMO back in on the way up, I'd be crying right now.
Oh, man.
But I wanted Intel off of VWAP. It did bounce VWAP, came back through, give some back we made on the first push, but this is still holding structure for now on INTC, so I don't want to give that one up altogether. Silver, all right, silver finally is another bottoming tail. We're actually pretty deep now into the pullback in SLV, but not all the way at that bottom at 75. This is the place where I want to take that second shot. But again, the trend, it hasn't really put in that hefty higher low yet. All we have is a bottoming tail candle. I really want to see that higher low be put in. Then buy there, take it to that VWAP trade. You guys know the drill when it comes to finding that entry point, because you're still looking weak relative to the market. Like the NASDAQ and the ES are pushing back toward those highs. And SMCI is flying. Yeah, maybe today's an update for SMCI. Who knew?
Meta's moving too, so good call out there, big green
625?
Stick. No, 622.
Okay. Close. 625 is a breakout on Meta.
Close, yeah. Apple to great level. Watch 5 minutes. Okay, Gaurav, yeah. I mean, there it is. I don't know why I still have this on my screen. We take a loss on the long side there in ONDS. We get the nice short. We take half off right there, stopped out, break even. We try it one more time. It then establishes the low of the day. So we took our 3 strikes on this one. We go 1 for 3, as I mentioned. ONDS is moving, Joey. I know. I'm looking at it, my friend. Tesla, so what I was looking at here on Tesla is that we had a breakout, but there was no real volume supporting this move here. So I was really cautious on playing this trend line break right here. You can see that we have the secondary, and then boom, it really starts to pick up. I guess the more that I look at it, the volume was supporting, and then same with the second one. So effort and result is there, but now we're starting to come right back in. So some form of a liquidity grab right above the volume weighted average price, and you're heading right towards the lower end of the range. But Meta going up to 622 here today, guys. A nice 5-minute consolidated break on this one. Yeah, cha-ching. Neo Joe, can you look at Wolf 24 call options? Need a sanity check. My friend, you may as well just go sit in front of
TerraWolf?
Yeah, on TerraWolf. 622. Or sorry, $24.
Oh, I don't like how things have started here today.
What's it at right now?
It's at 23, but if you look at it, it's not like a strong 23. It's it failed yesterday's high with a topping tail candle on the 15-minute. So the sellers are kind of winning up here at 23.5, but it's still early enough that you could call it choppy. I mean, but you know what though? But at the end of the day, it's still in an upward. It's a dip off the highs for a channel up. I just don't like the price action in this very moment on it.
When you guys put in, thank you very much for the super chat. I much appreciate it. But when you guys ask me about options questions, just do me a solid and say when you bought it isn't as important, but when it expires is even more important.
Okay.
Right? Like when it expires is so much important. I said Wolf too soon. I mean, yeah, so that's really important. Why? Because this can determine how much time you have. If you ask us about a stock and certain levels and where we think it could go, well, essentially we have, as long as the stock is on the exchange, we can say, yeah, all right, well, this may happen. But there's another factor that needs to be taken into consideration when we are trading options, and that is time, Neil. So when we're looking at some of these plays, you have to be sure and tell us, hey, this is expiring then. And what am I looking at here? What are some of my, no pun intended, options? What can we do? Yeah, the Greeks, exactly. So theta, exactly. Would you ever sell 0 DTE options if you're very sure of the, sell them? I remember I wasn't skilled enough, to be honest with you, in my earlier day when I first started experimenting with 0 DTEs. I tried it for about a week or so, not a large enough sample set, but I was just still, I wouldn't say I wasn't new, but I was just still in the earlier stages of really understanding what's going on. And I never caught a jive for them. I never really found any form of consistency, but that was me, and that was a long time ago. And since then, I just really haven't had the time to really focus on them. I talk about them quite often in the morning and what we could potentially do without the monies. And once the floor gets those options, then I'll have a lot more time for me to experiment. I already have a good idea, and I have a game plan in which I'm going to try to exercise on a mostly daily basis, just considering buying out of the money call options on the SPY for $10 or so, just to see if it's going to appreciate on the day, right? Like, it's $10, it's a fraction of your risk, and if it works, you can get multiple 100% returns on the day.
People asking why get out of Nvidia. I mean, the read will be the read. I'll give you the explanation. Like, I'm looking for, I don't get the dip buy that I'm looking for, right? So I'm not taking a trend break long. I'm already looking for that whole trend up and hold VWAP, which initially looked like it was okay, but then when we got these bounces off of VWAP, it suddenly found a bit of resistance on a downward slope with support here at about 230.5. So now it's got this wedge that's forming. And when I see this, I'm like, I wasn't priced right. Like, if I'm looking at this wedge, then the long is either off of the low or on the break. See what I'm saying? Like, I'm not on schedule in that trade. And if I'm in something and I feel like my entry point requires fighting it, I don't want to go that route. I'd rather scalp what I can, keep it tight, and then when something better sets up, then be into that. But that's the explanation. It just put in these lower highs. For sure. Like, the only trade that I'm not happy with was this wick out there and not getting back in on that candle. It was just way too quick of a snap back up. Like, it basically ran like the stops at the prior bar. And even then, like, to even idea how fast it moved, it broke this prior bar, and I got filled at a better price than where it stopped. That's how quickly the buyers came in. That shows you how fast it's moving at that time of the day, that your stop triggers, but they're already buying it back through. So by the time your order gets to market, you're literally getting a price that you shouldn't have gotten, which allows you to be filled at a better price. Like, I don't lose as much, but it also means that I'm not even stopping out underneath the support level. It's crazy. And when that happens, it's usually pretty bullish in the moment, and it's really hard to get that upwick when it does.
Yeah.
Because the buyers have come in literally as you're getting stopped, the buyers are coming in simultaneously. But again, that's the reason I got out. Does it look like it's right now? Fine, but it could have also gone to 234, and I could have looked wrong. I just want to be able to explain the logic there. Well, either we hold this bottom or break this trend if I'm going to look for any kind of a long continuation in Nvidia. The other name, which I'm going to, is SLV, because this is still now looking a little bit better. There's your double bottom in here off the 76. Yeah, I think I can mess with this one here. It's better if it holds up here 76.25, but if this candle can close above that number, then I'm pretty fine with jumping in just a little bit on this trend right here.
Dude, Neil, the tap on CBRS is $360.
No, it's not.
Yeah, it is. Let's go.
Those are crack price. It is.
Man.
$363.
Yeah, man, that's already 100% from.
On Monday, this was going to be priced at $115, this IPO.
Yeah.
They last night priced it at $185. The tap is $380. 300 and there it is.
380. Holy!
Look at it right now. I'm showing you the locate. Come to my screen. $380 auction price.
Man.
All right, that is that's unique. Okay. Buckle up, everybody.
Yeah, very much
Buckle
so.
up.
Buckle up. 200 shares still, 380 or what?
We're gonna have some fun. One way or another, we're gonna have some fun on this thing.
Yeah, we're gonna have some fun on.
And you know what? At the end of the day, if you got the issue price, you could name the stock whatever you want. Call it whatever you want.
Yeah.
Cerebras,
whatever you want.
I don't give a darn. At this point, that's ridiculous. Congratulations if you actually got the issue.
Oh, thank you. With love.
We should do a poll for anybody that tried to get an allocation.
I feel like that was my mom.
Oh, shoot, we got a super chat. My bad. Hey man, that's for you.
Yeah, it is
Handsome
for me.
Joe.
Yeah, I know from With Love to All.
Yeah.
Joe laughs so cute. Good morning, sunshine there. Thank you very much. Lele, what's going on? Yeah, let's take a look for you. That expires 2 days after the NVDA report. Can you give me your take? The stock just took a dip at the open. Data dog. D-dog. See what we got going on.
You know what's crazy?
205 call.
I can't, if I take the amount that I took in Figma, I would literally use all my buying power. I didn't think it would be opening this high. I can't even take the notional amount that I took on the last
Okay, it just dropped $50.
It's not going to open at 400. That's too crazy.
It's 325 now.
I mean, that's a little better.
Yeah, it's a little bit better. That's crazy, though. Yeah, let's take a look. Oh, man. What? So, expires, time is ticking, but if you bought this as an out-the-money call and you've gained some time value on this contract, it's almost a double top right here. We can break through that, but we're running out of time, and if you have multiple contracts, there's nothing wrong with locking some in, and if you happen to get a break early next week, like Monday or Tuesday max, then I would look to take the rest of the profits. But you can see 205.50 we rejected here, and then we rejected. It's pretty close to a double top. I know it's a couple of points away.
There's a question in the chat.
Yeah, absolutely.
If not, if they don't mention it, you're assuming a call.
Yeah. I have the option that expires.
So
22nd for 205.
very often, the way that we look at things here, if you're asking us a question, if you don't specify a position direction, the assumption is that it's a long. So for the option, it's assumption that we're talking calls.
Back up to 360.
Otherwise you'd say so.
What is going on here?
Nvidia's on the trend line for the break. It's confirmed the hold the low, and it now could break the trend. I'm just going to flash over. Silver is going. I haven't added to it yet, but I think I'm looking VWAP here. So that'll be about 70 pennies to play that into the volume weighted average price. I'm still wrapping our heads around this 360 that we're still seeing for the open, which is absolutely nuts. That's still that's absolutely crazy. That's what we're seeing. But you know what? It's not unprecedented. Snow was insane in that.
That would have been dangerous.
Snowflake was a crazy one as well. For day two, I want to say Leroy every time I look at that name. It's probably not pronounced that way. We'll get to Ford in a second, but this might be breaking trend here on Nvidia, so we'll take our next leg in this and hope it's not just some dinky like scalp trade in here for like 50 or 60 cents. Like give it more than that. But yeah, Ford's been an absolute rocket ship, no question. You know what I can do for you? Because I don't want to get off this chart. I can put Ford up here. Oh. If you look out to about 15 to 15 and a half on the daily chart, you will find some levels of interest for resistance on Ford. Okay. But it's an absolute rocket. Maybe you get VWAP pullbacks. It's already done it once. 14.3 could give you something. Yeah, Ford looks fantastic. I own shares of GM, not Ford, so I guess I suck. GM's always been a better stock. But yeah, looking for that VWAP trade. Fantastic look over there on Ford. And market's back at the highs. All right, I'm into this one. Right, I'm going to go to Ford. Someone said look at it on the daily. Yeah, did I say? Okay, sorry, 14 and a half, not 15 and a half. It's at resistance right now. Ford is literally breaking out as we speak at a resistance level. So maybe that VWAP pullback makes a little bit more sense then. We're talking Ford.
Just put your limit at like $500 on this thing.
You don't need to have your order. It's not going to open right now, man.
But you want to be prepared, man. You want to be prepared.
You have time.
You want to be prepared, my guy.
No, it's not opening yet.
No, it's not opening yet, but you want to be prepared. I mean,
that's crazy.
Whoa. That would have been crazy.
$360.
Yeah, I mean, 360.75 on that one. Big time ONDS Friday calls. Feels like it's breaking. Look to scalp a quick 50% profit. Let's say it out loud, my brother. They're listening. I mean, it's not breaking. Pardon me?
Bitcoin broke 80.
Did it?
Yeah, 80K upside.
Okay. Yeah, I like that because I was looking for. It's pretty choppy though. It is breaking. Yeah, it's about to break $45. I like Bitcoin a little bit more here now, other than ONDS, to be honest with you. I'd rather trade that bad boy than ONDS. Tesla not doing anything. If we can get a break of the volume weighted average price or catch the lower end of the range, I'm going to like it that much more, to be honest with you. So We'll be patient on this one. It wasn't very liquid, and it didn't even pop up on my scanner here today. So we took ONDS off our charts, and we're going to be focusing here on Bitcoin and on Tesla. Slow curl over that we're getting at that 422.53. Maybe we can find another strong session. But if it breaks that level, then I'm going to suspect some more downside. Market going higher. NVDA starting to head back in towards 232, all-time high of 233. I think it breaks it and puts in another one here today. So, but Bitcoin break of support level of 45.35. That's going to be a pre-market or resistance level, of that level. And then there's also a pre-market zone. So not too bad of a look there on IBIT, guys.
And we've got more super chats, but very quickly, the move into that first $0.50 off of VWAP is doing it again. So I've been selling every time it's got to that first look, and I'm going to keep going on the dip. I think this one can be good off of VWAP, but there's still that back notion that 230.5 is the spot here on Nvidia. Look, I like Nvidia for a hold and a reload and all that, played in upward trend stuff. Silver's different. This could be an into the volume weighted average price, and then allow it to show me some kind of a hold over VWAP that I'll like a little bit better. Like the dip yesterday pre-market, and then after the market was open, you were already into the upward move. But when I look at it yesterday, that big, massive run, that was 11:30. And that wipeout bottom initially rejected VWAP, and then you could get back in a second time. So I'm not thinking as greedily. Greedily? That's not a word. I'm not being as greedy.
Greedily is a word.
No, it's not. Greedily is a word? You know what? I trust Adair fully.
Yeah,
greedily. I'm not being as. Am I saying that? I'm not being as greedily is actually a proper thing to say?
No, I'm not. I'm being as greedily, but you could be like I did this in a. I behaved greedily. Like, you can't be like, you could be as, like, the way you used it was wrong, the word is correct.
Okay, good. Because I felt like what I said made absolutely no sense. That's why I was, like, calling myself out. I didn't think I made any sense just now, but apparently I can use greedily. I just have no idea how to use that word. I'm not going to be as greedy on silver as I will try to be at this HOD on Nvidia, because I want to keep going back into the trends, looking for VWAP and pretty much only that. Nvidia is going.
Yes, sir.
Silver's on the Amex,
yeah,
but Nvidia is not. That's why nothing just came up on my chart there. But now you're busting through that high. So there's your trend break. There's the play into the high. We are now into all-time highs. Ignore my daily chart's going to show this silly dark pool wick, unfortunately. But this is now all-time highs on Nvidia. 35 is a logical spot, no doubt about it. We'll see if we can get there as we all try to wrap our heads around. Well, the bull market I can wrap my head around. What I can't wrap my head around is $365 tap on CBRS. Because I'm obviously not taking the same size as I was before when I thought this was going to open at $200. It says $370 now. $370. It's just a notional thing at this point.
Yeah.
Like, it's literally a notional value thing. Like, you only have so much buying power. It is what it is.
Yeah,
but we have time to figure that one out.
Yeah, we'll be patient and wait and see what we got going on. Right now, we'll focus on yeah, I know, man. It is what it is. What if it opened? Like, the chances of it opening now are probably relatively low.
Now? It's not. Joe, you're getting way ahead of yourself.
All right. I'm just asking.
All right. Thoughts on. We'll go to Adair. Thoughts on RUM earnings and buying Northern data. We'll get those in a quick little bit, but I will follow my rule. So you'll see some traders that like to scalp out into the move. I may hold, which is also the reason, like, I just like the good R&R on the trade. Like, if I get it in good, I want to make the move with the tight stop out for 50 cents to make sure that I average out like $1.50, like that kind of a thing. And then I'm good with that. Like, I'm not scalping a bunch out here to give it the wider stop and then needing to hold it to 235. Again, to each their own. Everyone's going to have a little bit of a different style of trade. But I wanted to make sure we press the high of the day. Like, once we broke that 232 quarter to half range, I wanted to be pressing into the high of the day on Nvidia and then get the win in that regard. But it was more about just different structure today. Like, eventually it gave you like the explosive long, but I was on the wrong structure. I was trying to work it off of VWAP, and then it showed me something else. Everyone asked, why did you get out of it? because I was looking at it in a different pattern, and once it showed me an entry point off that pattern, which was this wedge, it showed the break of the wedge. Even, by the way, for this trade, if it does the wedge and it breaks it, if it holds the wedge longer, it's just so much better. Like because then you get some more people out that keep scalping VWAP and they give up, and then all of a sudden you're getting it at a better price, and you still have the same room to the HOD. The other thing we just got out of it was silver. Eventually get it into the volume weighted average price, but again, willing to get out, willing to get back in, willing to take it to our trend top. So thankfully we finally get our targets on both, and we'll look for the next available trade, which will not be. Trust me, it's not going to be CBRS because we have plenty of time for that, Joe.
Yeah. Okay, did we go over Danny Boy's super chat there? Oh, okay, let's go over Adair. We'll go over Danny Boy's super chat right when we get back.
I can actually comment on that Rumble super chat because I know that was mentioned. That Northern Data sales, their acquisition rather of Northern Data, not expected to go through until Q2 of 2026. So could happen at any moment. As of right now, though, it has not gone through. I also want to mention here with Rumble, I'm going to have an earnings preview on that on TTV Research out within the next few hours. It's already ready, just has not been posted yet because I'm rolling everything out. So again, Rumble, we'll have more info there on X at TTV Research. I also have to mention here a couple other headlines. ServiceNow to the upside. I guess this was another stock that President Trump had purchased. And also, Wall Street Journal reporting that a ship was sunk in the Strait by attack this week. The crew was rescued, and it was a ship with Indian flags. That is also being reported here again by Wall Street Journal. So oil news here too. Now, with all that out of the way, we'll talk small caps. SNAL, Snail, day one earnings play, unexpected profit reported by Snail, and sales beating estimates. Then you've got ALP. This is like actually, I guess, a day 3 catalyst now because this came out on Tuesday. Tuesday, Alpha Compute announced that they closed a $32.2 million revenue contract with an AI lab customer. They're worth noting here, too, you've got about a 4.5% short float, $9 million market cap. And again, this is not a day one play. Last but not least, and a name that certainly is a day one play, that's going to be Poet Technologies, POET, with a deal here with Lumalens for advancing wafer level photonic integration, specifically for AI optical networks. POET with a roughly 16% short float. Back to you.
Yeah, Ozan. I'm not loving Tesla right now, to be honest with you. It's just rejecting VWAP. We did have that curl over. The market was screaming higher. I mean, we had the name that we've been talking about all morning, putting in another all-time high. The Q's put in a new high of the day, or sorry, the SPY put in a new high of the day. And Tesla's having the inability to breach the volume-weighted average price, really struggling along this level. So we went long. We had the pullback there. There's a nice indecision print that I was looking to go long off of. But now, if this support system is broken, I'm going to suspect that there's going to be some more low of the day. I'm not positioned very well, considering I'm not wrong until here, but I just don't want to hold it that long, to be honest with you. So I'm not in love with Tesla as it's starting to sell a little bit. So 1 for 4 here this morning to start. A little bit cooler of one. I'm just going to wait for the CBRS IPO, to be honest.
It is going to be a big... I'll be real. Like, I think on days like today, regardless of what your style is, there are a lot of day traders that will just, to be real, just sit around and wait for CBRS.
Yeah, I would love to do that, yeah.
I think for myself, I've never really been that type because like essentially the reason why, I'm burying the lead, the reason why that's true is if you think there's like one thing happening in the day that is your biggest opportunity, you don't want to risk losing and like being down anything significant for any reason going into it because you want to be able to allocate full risk to it. That being said, the reason I don't change anything is, remember, like my style of trade, like even just there on like Nvidia, like I'm going station to station, I'm keeping the stop, or in everything I do, I'm a little bit more, keep it tight to the vest. So I tend to just trade normally. But for a lot of traders, it is perfectly normal to say, this is the biggest event this quarter, save your risk and be ready for it. If that's your cup of tea, like if you're taking the opening print on this, you're not taking anything it's your biggest risk event of the quarter, period, if you're doing this IPO at the open. Guaranteed. So we'll see what happens next for me. Nvidia happens to be pulling back in the range. It's not back into VWAP. If it does retest VWAP, I don't want to get married to there. Support has been down at the 230.5, which is underneath the volume weighted average price. If I get back into silver, because the market's topping out, it's not going to be a long again on SLV unless it holds above the volume weighted average price, right? Like the stock has been a short. Just because eventually we got the move that we wanted doesn't suddenly turn it into a stock which is upward trending. It's not. It's still showing a downward trend. Yes, it's had good V-shaped recoveries, but look how late this one goes out. This is 1 o'clock when it makes its secondary breakout. Yesterday was much cleaner off of the open. So patience is going to pay here. Let us know what you guys are looking at. I'm going to pull up the visualizer. It's been a bit busier this morning, I find.
Yeah, pull up the portfolio tracker too.
Well, I wanted to get the visual. Where's my visualizer? I just want to make sure we're covering the names that people want. Right? So I get the visualizer up. And remember, if you're looking at this and you're like, what is this? It is a visual representation of what you guys are typing in the chat. So if I'm interested in the IPO, which I obviously am, I type $CBRS into the chat. And to do so, you have to be a subscriber. So hit the like and subscribe.
Let's go.
Now, jump in the chat and let us know what you guys are watching. Nvidia, shocking. That's what we've been trading mostly today for myself. Poet, which is one of the big small caps. ONDS, of course. Joe's been on that one. Klarna reported this morning. Microsoft, I haven't looked at it. Tesla, you have. Marvell, we have not taken a look at. Another 4% for Marvell. Only 0.4 for AMD. There was a moment it was looking a lot stronger than this. Mike, why does it say Micron is flat on the day? No chance Micron's actually flat on the day. It doesn't make any sense. MobX, we have talked a little bit about. As well. And Redwire, that's one that we have not mentioned, RDW. I think from that list, the one that doesn't surprise me, that I want to take a quick look at would be Marvell. Is this doing something? No. Immediately, I'm like, is this doing something better than the others? Not really. Underneath VWAP here, putting in lower highs, unless I was looking short. CoreWeave is apparently pumping. See, this is the thing.
Yeah, CoreWeave's going, man.
CoreWeave, that's better than. There's always something better.
Look at
that last trade that last move in Nvidia was good, breaking out. But then look at the same kind of thing on CoreWeave. Right, like it's a sharper downtrend, harder to get in. Fair enough, but then harder to get in goes even further. That's another way to look at it. So CoreWeave 4.5 points. See?
Yeah.
You put that on the side chart.
Yeah. There we go, ladies and gentlemen.
Good look, guys.
Yeah.
And girls.
Absolutely. Ladies and gentlemen, there we go. Sitting that face slapper, sitting in that 4 spot.
It's harder to look. I'm doing the face slap. You're not scrolled to me, but.
You want me to scroll to you?
Well, I hit the face slap because you added up. But it's hard for the viewers to see on that view. There's a different view which is easier to interpret.
Or to see like everybody's.
It's just visually when you're watching the stream.
Oh, is
yeah,
it?
I know. Yeah,
the summary here?
Yeah, the summary is just easier.
Yeah, okay, all right. We'll tap the summary in there for my guy. Yeah, I mean, there it is, man, sitting in that 4th slot. Okay, we got to take one more attempt here on Tesla off of these lows. Let's see if this is going to be the one where we find a rebound, multiple attempts to get that bottom. But other than that, guys, we have CrowdStrike really helping us gain some ground here. Randy, a couple of percentage points ahead of your boy. But, yeah, not too bad of a look. Walmart doing as good. The name that I thought was going to be our true backbone here, Neil, that's going to be JP Morgan, down 6.7%. Not too good, but CrowdStrike putting in a new all-time high here today. So a big-time move in the crowd of strikes. So we like that one. Now sitting in that 4th spot. Watch out, watch out. All right, we gotta pay some respect to our mod Bravely. Watch Oracle, guys. He's putting a lot of people in the chat. I don't know if you put any shout-outs there. We're not doing roll call or anything along those lines. We'll wait for the afternoon for that. But other than that, guys, a nice little pop-up here in Tesla. Let's see if we can head back in towards VWAP. We're in this name, TSLA. A nice little continuation right there. Shout-out to Bravely and all the individuals watching on TikTok. What has Oracle been up to? Have you seen that name here today?
I have not.
Yeah, up to 195 here, ORCL, with a strong uptick, guys, and some strong price action throughout the intraday session so far, and a big-time move back towards some of these key pivot highs of that $200 marker on ORCL.
And I'm going to get a pull-up in a second, but I was just asked, Neil, couldn't you have, if you like the exit here, couldn't you go short on silver? You can always flip if you get a good price level. You have to keep in mind, I say this every single time I get a top wick, right? I'm long at the bottom or I'm out at the highs. Okay, it's good, but sometimes I'll do that same thing and it goes like another $1 or $2. What it comes down to is I think silver on the daily chart, I like it for a long. long right now. I think it's an uptrend. So I have a bit of a bias on it. And when I have a bias on it, until it shows me a really good reason not to, I want to be looking for long entries. That's why I want I'm looking for that next push to get back into it above VWAP. This is something we did on IBIT. IBIT's a great example of this yesterday. It's the best example I can come up with. Because on IBIT, I played the long reverse, same thing, trend down yesterday, we were long into VWAP, I got out, it then consolidated over VWAP, I just went long again. I just got back in and then continued the trade. It happened right away, but that's where I'm at with SLV. I'm looking for that next push and find another entry somewhere else on it. I'm just a bit of a bias to the long side. Before we move on, this is an easy pull because I'm interested here. Right now, Cerebras IPO, the issue is at $180. Its auction price right now is if it opened right now, it would open $200 higher than that at 380. So my simple question to everyone in the chat is, are you trading this today? Type 1 for yes, type 2 for no, and then what is CRBS? I don't know how you could be asking that question if you're actually watching us right now, but I am absolutely trading. I'm gonna type a bunch of ones in there and let's see what everyone's doing. I feel like this is one that's it's getting priced so high that it's gonna price some people out of trading it. Not us, but I think a lot of people.
Bro, dude.
It's $380. That is, even I think that is a ridiculous price. But there's a difference between trading and investing. I'm not asking if you're investing in it. I'm asking if you're gonna trade it today. Else we'll leave that poll up for the rest of the morning show and go to the desk with Adair.
So to let you guys know here, they are currently streaming on the GOP Banking X account the markup here of the Senate Banking Committee for the Clarity Act. So currently marking up the bill, different amendments being suggested by different Senate members. I do also, as always, have to recommend if you're interested in the Clarity Act and in crypto legislation or just crypto news in general, I would recommend following Eleanor Terrett on X. She is a crypto-focused journalist. She has a lot of really great information here, specifically with regards to legislation on crypto. She is how I found out about this event. I'm currently listening, once again, to the Senate Banking Committee live on X, marking up this Clarity Act. Back to you.
Appreciate it, Adair. And speaking of the Clarity Act, IBIT that's a nice looking trend. That could be something worth joining.
Yeah.
If we can find it. It's very clean. You're back above the 80K. This is the only day this week that I haven't traded. This week? This is probably the only day this month that I haven't made a morning trade on IBIT.
I think you trade IBIT as much, if not potentially even more sometimes than I do.
Possibly.
Yeah.
Well, not today.
Not today. Yeah, I haven't taken it today.
I liked SLV more, and that obviously you got to be able to admit that you're wrong.
Yep.
You know, this was a better long. Oh no, I just had a chart crack. Yeah, you got to be able to admit that this was a better long trade back through. But there's a lot of room still for it to go. Now, keep in mind, everyone's ear to the ground to see if this thing passes, like it happens today. But that does give it a lot of potential. So maybe look for a VWAP retracement trade. Over here. It's still overwhelming no's.
Come on, Tesla.
And I do think it's because people feel priced out of this. It's just opening too high. I bet you if this opened at half the price, if it was indicating 190 instead of 380, understandably, I think you'd have a little bit more interest in it. That's incredibly pricey.
So what are we thinking about, like, if we're talking to IPOs right now? I was listening to Ronnie B last night, Ron Barron. He was on CNBC the other day, or yesterday, whatever it may have been, and he's thinking that SpaceX can be like a $30 trillion market cap. Did you hear that, Adair? I don't know if Ron Barron said that he believes that SpaceX could be like 30 trillion.
I want what he's smoking, man.
Yeah.
Whatever. I was trying to be the pusher man with coffee.
Yeah, but now you're.
But whatever he's getting hooked up with, give me some of that. Get the hell out of here. Crazy. I like you, but you're crazy.
I think. How about? Do you think you can get locates now on CBRS, Neil? Luis is. Yeah, I think as soon as we see, Neil already has them. I think at the point, so as soon as we seen that tap,
I think I probably paid too much though. I paid You know what?
$8.
See, now here's the thing. If you're at Real Trading, when they give on an IPO day, maybe wait a few minutes after, because the second they were available, I paid for them.
Yeah.
And I paid 8.5 cents. I'm willing to bet if I look now, they're probably 5 or 6 cents. Per share.
Oh, but
per
okay.
share, per share,
I thought
per
you were going to say $8. Dude, we're not going to be complaining about 8 cents here.
No, I'm not.
Yeah.
Oh. This is a saying I live by.
Yeah, okay. If you can get it cheaper.
Principle is priceless.
No, it's fair.
I don't care how much I'm saving.
Yeah.
You know how many times I'm paying for over the course of a trading career? How many times am I going to pay for local?
I agree.
If I get 20% off every single time over the course of 20 years, I've saved money.
I agree.
If you add liquidity as much as you can and make a rebate as opposed to crossing the spread and paying a fee over the course of 20 years, how much money do you think you have saved? You better believe over time.
I'm not
and then
argue
ask
that.
yourself all those little drips. Maybe you make an extra 1% a year on your trading commissions. And all of that extra 1% goes into investing into the market.
Yeah, I'm not going to argue that for sure.
Now the other way is to say that I'm cheap.
I do that from a day-to-day basis. No, it's not saying you're cheap because you know what? I think a lot of people do this, but it's
I'm
smart.
saying I'm cheap.
Selena,
I'm cheap.
I'm okay with that. I'm like, if I can save $1, I'm going to, right? Like, my guy. So it's like the example at the grocery store, right? Back in the day, I used to do grocery store shop, go one store, that's it, just get it all done. But now it's just like, okay, well, we go to this grocery store for that, and then you go over there for this because it's cheaper. It's like, but she's like, well, it doesn't even matter. It takes up time. But yeah, but when you add up the $2 or $3 that they add on top of the other price, it all adds up for sure. So yeah, other than that, guys, we did get a pop up into 1675 here on Tesla. Oracle is really moving up to 195 here, and then we have an additional all-time high on NVDA. So we're loving this. We can't break VWAP. This thing is so weak. I mean, come on, break 1675. The market's all-time high, and then we have a laggard here that's just not participating in the rally, and that's Tesla. So it's really unfortunate. We're still negative about 0.5% here, a little bit less than that. So yeah, let's break, let's go, and if we have the ability to do so, maybe we can get some more buyers stepping in, but right now it's not looking too good. 1680 is where I'm looking to take a little bit off, but if we don't get that, now I've already hit almost a 1.5, close to a 2 to 1. If it comes back to my break even, I have to accept the flat trade. Now, Adair, what do you have for us?
Yeah, it's worth noting here already some expression of bipartisan discontent with the Clarity Act as we go into this markup session. So we're going to have to wait and see if we get any updates on this today. It does not sound like anything's going to be changed or updated imminently, but I will keep you all posted. Right now, though, let's look at the sector board, which is actually quite nicely, like nice light moss green today. Weakness in health services, UNH down about 1%. Non-energy minerals getting hit, both Freeport McMoran and Newmont, so copper and gold names respectively down about 2 to 3% each. Retail trade generally kind of mixed to blank, but Amazon down about 1%. Health tech, you've got Eli Lilly down about 1%, and tech services have been generally very strong, but Google down about 1% here. That being said, Palo Alto Networks near all-time highs, or at days highs here anyway. ACN here at intraday highs, Intuit up 3%. Electronic tech, you've got Nvidia and Broadcom each up more than 4%. We know that Nvidia CEO Jensen Huang is meeting in China, and there's some indication we could hopefully get some kind of update here in these China chip sales. Cisco is still up 3%, though, below its earnings reaction high after its Q3 2026 report. You've got SanDisk and Intel to the downside. So these tech names kind of all over the place, but generally the board is giving us a slightly positive picture. Back to you.
So I'm going to address some questions here about NVIDIA. Everyone has to have their own trading style. I've been trading for 20 years. I will simply trade what works for me, right? Like I'll wait all day, scalping out, keep tight stops, scalping out, keep tight stops, to get that one trade where I'm taking the break and then I'm playing it to the high. That's my style. Some traders like to find something where they're going to hold it all day long. Again, I will do what works for me. I've been doing this a very, very long time. I will promise you, you will not trade my style without giving up upside. What I get out of that is a lot of consistency. Right? So when people say 90% of traders fail, I find niches and setups that allow me to make money every single month. I'm not doing this to toot my own horn. And yesterday when we were talking about this, what was the question yesterday? It was something about doubling down or whatnot.
Martingale?
It was something along those lines. Yeah, whatever it was. And I was sort of getting into like why not to do it. There are ways that you could do that profitably. Absolutely. Go ahead. Knock yourself out. If your style of trading is I need to have it in here and hold and assume the bigger move, perfect. that's great. If you watch me on this show, sometimes I might like it for that, but I'd rather look for the next one and then the next one and then the next one. Win, win, win. Only need one win to make up for like 3 that didn't work. That's going to be my style of trading. And again, everyone has to have their own style. I'm only ever here to trade my account, show you what I think, tell you what's worked for me. How could I ask yourself this question? How could I possibly have any credibility trying to explain or trade a strategy that has not been what I do to make profits for over 20 years? You shouldn't trust somebody that tries to do that. It's just got to be, I just got to trade the way that I trade and let you know that it is what it is. And I could say things like, I've never had back-to-back losing months in over 20 years.
Ooh.
Have I ever said that on this show?
No, but you just did.
I know.
Yeah.
But like, would you prefer if I just said that and said, I don't care what you think, I make money every single month?
Yeah, I think that's as real as it gets, though, man, because I think...
No, but I think that's a douchebag thing to say.
It is a big time.
No, but that's why I try not to say
it. But
I just want to explain what I'm looking at and what I'm trading.
Let me put it.
I'm always going to give up the bigger move. Oftentimes to have a higher percentage.
What's more of a D-bag thing to say? Oh, why didn't you stay within that trade a little bit longer, like someone's backseat driving your positions, or you being like, hey man, at least I'm profitable every month.
No, because here's where they're right. Here's where they're right.
Of course they can be right, but you can't be a backseat driver at the same time.
No. You have to. Everybody's going to be different. Now look at the other days here on Nvidia, right? So this day, the buy and hold, great. This day, the buy and hold, no. This day, the buy and hold never makes a fresh high. The opening range at 11 o'clock, you could make an argument this one does. This day, the buy and hold doesn't. Like you're coin flipping this uptrend whether you get continuation or not. But if you play it consistently in your style, then you can win. I like a style that wins every single day on the uptrend or on the downtrend, right? As opposed to just picking which one. Trust me, Tyler Batty, get it. Get it. That's going to be you. You've got to only ever do you. What you don't want to do is jump out of your style of trade if it's what's profitable for you. Don't worry about it. Yeah. That's what it's all about here. It's all about, you just have to try to keep it real. And I'm never going to be the person to tell you that I'm always holding it. No, I'm more than likely to just get in one good trade and then look for the next good trade. Speaking of which, I don't think it's going to be Intel.
$ Neo.
I want to be back into Intel.
Yes, sir.
And again, I will look for shots where I can just take, boom, one chance, go or don't go. Look for the re-entry, not a good re-entry. I don't think I like this one again, but the only thing I'm looking at now for Intel is this. Right now you got some higher lows on Intel. It can play into here. It can be a bounce straight into the high, or it can be a trend break down into the low. And then if you get the trend break down under 115 later in the day, I'll take one shot to just get that one move. And if it goes to 110, great, but I don't care because I'll be looking for that into the 113 level. I already know what I'm looking for so that I can just execute without emotion, so I can execute without, you won't ever see me fighting styles or freaking out over stuff.
Yeah.
Because I already know what I'm gonna do before I get into the trade. And that's where I'm at. You can already see me befuddled by Cerebras right now because now it's indicating 400.
No way.
Yeah, I literally could not take. The amount of shares that I've taken on every single IPO when I think it's big, I actually can't take that much today.
Yeah, I might not even limit on.
I don't even have it's crazy. What I had on Figma, I don't have enough buying power to take the same amount of shares I took on Figma. That's the only reason I'm sizing down on it. Notionally, it's the same thing because actual dollar value.
You're saying you're capping right now.
It's 400. There's a limit to how much BP you have in your account. It's a $410 stock. You can't, if you have 5 million shares, you can't even take 2,000 shares of this thing, bro. It's crazy. This is crazy. Yeah, $410?
410 smackers. Sharif's ready to take 2,000.
No, I'm going to take the print. This is getting a little bit insane.
Yeah, it's getting up there, man. Lots of lots of demand on this one.
Is stupid.
Man, I wish I had my stream deck. I got to add a couple of things here. Bang, 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 bang. I'll just make the sound effect. Boo, 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 boo. Is that me or SSC, or was that you? All right. Yeah. Oh, thanks. I appreciate that one there. Okay, no, that wasn't me. Tesla, nice move. We hold that one, guys. We're still holding on to a little bit here for a continuation. The market continues to climb 235.74. NASDAQ at the high of the day. SPY, is this all-time highs on the SPY? Neil, before we send it over to Adair momentarily. Oh, my chart is loading.
Yes.
But yeah, a nice play here on Tesla. You can see we took that stop out. I talk about this time and time again. What happened? Where did we go wrong on this one? We buy the top end of the range. We're patient. We get the lower end of the range. Our risk to reward ratio is drastically better. And then we just hold literally for 20 cents. We get out at a 15-cent loss here. And before we take anything out, we hold that for a 13-cent gain, 23-cent gain. So a 2-to-1. Nice look. Let's see if we can break 1685. Let's send it over to Adair.
Just be aware here, guys. USO on watch, seeing some reports from the New York Times that both Saudi Arabia, excuse me, and the UAE separately carried out strikes in Iran in retaliation for attacks conducted against them during the Middle East conflict earlier this year. Apparently, this is the first known time that the two countries have directly attacked Iran. Furthermore, Saudi Arabia reportedly telling the U.S. to end their war with Iran and reopen the Strait of Hormuz. Back to you.
You know, this
is silly. Because the other thing, thank you, Adair. The other thing I'm thinking out loud with is, if it rugs and then tries to go, I'm talking about CRBS. If the first move is rug pull and then it tries to bounce, do I want to leave myself 2 shots at it instead of 1? Which is a question I have to answer for myself here. Because I already know that no matter what I do, if I trade this thing, it's going to be the biggest risk trade of the quarter. So like a lot of what else you do is a bit irrelevant, right? Trump Xi offered to help on Iran. Oh, shocking. You don't say.
Ooh, in which way?
Well, help can only be. Well, I guess there's a lot of ways.
There's a lot of ways. Like which way? And like which way? Are we talking dropping bombs or getting this straight opened?
I'm gonna guess not dropping bombs.
Yeah,
they're not offering milk. You know what? I don't think so. I shouldn't say they're not. I should say I don't think that they would be.
IBIT's really moving here. IBIT's really starting to pick up some steam. Yeah, so things are looking good over there in Bitcoin land here, Bitcoin Landia. There's a good question there, Adair. If you could go over what Ian Rispetto asked us, I would like to know as well. It's a super chat. We'll get that pulled up here momentarily, but let's send it over to Adair.
With regards to crypto, which I know this is not crypto time, I just want to mention that right now they're kind of all arguing with each other. Like there's nothing actually crypto related being said except for a lot of, at this point, kind of partisan issues here with the crypto bill. Who is this bill for? Who will it benefit? Et cetera, et cetera. Like there's nothing to really, I don't think from what I'm hearing, and I've listened to this whole thing, there's really nothing to explain why this is moving up, at least if it's moving up on the Clarity bill or Clarity Act. But let's talk here about the US dollar. Day 3 of pushing to the upside for the DXY. We did have hotter than expected import and export month-over-month changes coming through earlier today. Really kind of a boring day for economic data, especially after those CPI and PPI prints on Tuesday and Wednesday, respectively. Yesterday, we got the official confirmation of Kevin Warsh as the chair of the Board of Governors of the Federal Reserve. That term will start, I guess, on May 16th. We have Powell's term ending on May 15th. Now, he is the governor of the Board of Governors. Myron is out. Now, it's worth noting he's still being credited as a Fed when he makes speaking engagements, which he did earlier today as well. But Myron no longer a Fed as of right now. That being said, if and when Powell decides to end his term, or should he resign early, they could always appoint Myron again, I suppose. But it's worth noting he's not currently a Fed. It's also interesting here. I know some people were thinking maybe once you get the confirmation of Warsh, you get better chances of rate cuts. So far, that's not been the case. In fact, actually, if you look at the CME FedWatch tool, going to October 2027, we're now seeing the possibility of a hike. Now, earlier, we weren't seeing the possibility of a hike until December of 2027. So if anything, rate hike odds have increased. It's not been the odds of cuts increasing. If you want to go over that super chat with me, you can put it on the screen. But back to you.
Yeah, I mean, but I don't even know what that means, to be honest with you. I never really understood. Gaslighting, is that a bad thing? If you gaslight someone, is that bad?
I mean, usually it's considered to be a negative context.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah,
sorry.
The context is usually negative.
Sid, Guduri, sorry if you mentioned this. Are you guys looking at Cerebras today? I don't think we mentioned it yet today.
No.
So we'll pull it up one more time. Yeah, we are looking to. All of us here are looking to trade that. Nizad, yes, gaslighting is always bad. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
What is that in?
It's.
Okay, the title of our stream is about Cerebras there. So as you clicked, you would see something along those lines.
From Ian Rispetto, can you please recap what Trump bought and he sold again? Thank you. We can have Adair do that.
That would be fantastic.
So the biggest sales here were Amazon, Microsoft, Meta. However, he kind of negated those. We sold them all, I believe, in February 10th of 2026. He bought 2 of them back to a lesser extent, those 2 being Amazon and Microsoft, I believe, March 9th. Now, ServiceNow, probably one of the best movers in terms of like what's actually moving on the Trump buys. I'll pull up NOW for you. ServiceNow moving up here nicely. This one was purchased by Trump, I believe, in the quantity of 1 million to 5 million shares. You also had Dell, which earlier on was reported to be part of this. I didn't, like, if he did add this, I didn't see it anywhere. So I think this was maybe perhaps incorrectly speculated. But either way here, Dell was on watch with that in mind. But again, in terms of like major buys, I think you've got like obviously the sales there of Amazon, Meta, and Microsoft, 2 of which were purchased back. ServiceNow probably the one that's reacting the most, I think, to this. I believe I saw Palo Alto Networks as well. It's a lot of tech plays, guys, really. And again, I think the sales there are significant, but again, negated by the fact that he did repurchase 2 of them. President Trump also speaking to Fox right now, saying that Xi Jinping of China wants to help with Iran, and that he apparently promised Trump he will not give Iran military equipment. I hope that helps and answers your question. Thank you for your super chat.
Yeah, I like that. I like that partnership better. But bang, there goes Tesla once again, man. Big shoes to fill here with Katina, man. Hopefully he's hit the road. I know they rented the Jeep Wrangler. Have fun with that. I know what we got going on in Toronto right now, Neil, may not necessarily be top-down weather, but who knows what's going on in Minneapolis over there. But other than that, I hope him.
Well, I'm guessing it's probably not that warm.
It's definitely not. It's not. I don't think Minnesota is going to be warmer than what we got going on here, but I could totally be wrong. But other than that, guys, a nice little move on TSLA as it continues to climb. IBIT still strong here today, guys. And then we have Oracle back up to $196. So I know if someone was asking, I just have that up on my chart. But I'm sitting on a couple of percentage points here, about 20% in this Tesla trade. So not too bad of a trade here. And I mentioned, so we take the loss initially on this one, ONDS. Pull that bad boy up, and we take 2 losses on that one. So we're just on the brink of being profitable. So yeah, there it is. Not too bad. Some unrealized gains there, Neil.
Unrealized.
Oh, Ondas right back towards the high, eh? Yeah, there it goes, man.
Like this crypto move is getting a little bit intense.
Yeah, I like that.
Look at BMNR absolutely go ham to the upside. I'm starting to think bias is getting the better of me. It's getting the better of me, and I'm looking what's happening right now in the market. What the heck? Hit enter again. There we go. I'm looking at what's happening. The market is at the highs. If you're at a resistance point and topping tailing it, then I'm supposed to be right now usually looking for a short on a downward trending stock. Well, the only reason I'm not short SLV, which is a downward trending stock, is because I looked long and happened to get a long. But yeah, it should have been a reverse in a lot of sense, but my bias could have gotten the better of me. Market's at the top and pulling back. I can look over and play a reversion in something ridiculously strong, or I can play for the south side in something that is weak, which makes a little bit more sense. And for those, there were some that are in the chat that were like, well, then why even trade CBRS at all? I understand that sentiment. You have to understand that if over the last couple of years, taking big IPOs at open has been one of the most profitable strategies for somebody, then I'm very unlikely to completely ignore it. I don't mind saying take 10%, 20%, or 30%, some smaller number on the opening print, because it doesn't profile as well, because it's opening at $380 and not $200. That being said, I still want to have it because it's been an A+ setup. So I'll be more inclined to look for a short at some point. I'll be more inclined to maybe not take max BP or something along those lines at the opening print, but I'm not going to go to throw the baby out with the bathwater. That's not even the analogy I want. I'm not going to walk away from it completely. Way too big of an IPO, way too much interest, way too much potential upside to completely ignore the opportunity. But even just but the funny thing is it's priced so high that couldn't even take the same shares in Figma anyways. And I don't know that I'd want the same amount of shares in a 380 open that I would want in like a 75 open on something else. But yeah, it's still going to be that big event. Until we get to that, we have 3 minutes left. So the next trade for me is markets at the high and potentially pulling. I'm just going for the reverse on SLV. Thankfully, I'm getting about the same price that I would have gotten had I made this decision an hour ago or like 30 minutes ago. Oh, speaking of which.
Hit it.
I do have the key. I have to work on. Usually, Sean hits the key. So
I've seen it. I'm not going to give it away.
Oh, you have? I have to go open it up.
I've seen it
here. So I'm going to open it up to see what's for lunch. It is.
Yeah, don't chase is right.
It's a Portuguese flag.
Dang. Oh, that's not what I've seen over there.
What? Today's Thursday.
Today is Thursday.
I see a Portuguese. Am I in the wrong week? Yeah, this is the right week.
Wow,
Thursday, Portuguese flag. We've got baked Portuguese chicken with mashed potatoes, grilled vegetables with garlic.
Okay.
That'll play.
That's not what I've seen
mixed
over
meat
there.
salad. What do you? I'm literally reading.
I know, but I'm telling you what I've seen.
You've seen the.
I seen the lunch.
Oh, I
yeah,
you said you saw the
seen
email.
the menu. Yeah,
that's not what we're actually getting.
No, I did. Well,
apparently lunch is already here. That's what he said.
I don't know. I may be going crazy, but I swore I seen like a butter chicken or something along those lines. I didn't see anything Portuguese.
Butter chicken?
Yeah, I could be totally wrong. I only seen a select few of them. The guy was still bringing in some of the other ones. So
I mean, it's chicken and mashed potatoes.
I understand in Sparta, every messenger is accountable for his words, but
no, that's fair. That's absolutely fair. So just a quick one. We have like a minute and a half to go here. We got some super chats to get through. Nicole Vada, SMCI, thanks team.
No problem.
Well, I don't know. This is like the first day this week that I lost on SMCI because I've been only bearish on it. Well, I mean, look, did I even trade it on Monday? I think I only traded it Tuesday and Wednesday. Either way, it's like short, today, go for that same short off the open, like just don't break the pre-market high kind of deal. So I went for that today, but this is why you give it a shot. And if it doesn't go, you got to have an out. And eventually it did, and now now it's bullish on SMCI. So it's a strong one. You got to respect it. We got another super chat in here. NBIS from Ivan or Yvonne. Could be Yvonne as well. I know an Ivan, and Sean would be able to co-sign this one. We went to high school with an Ivan, and every time I see him or we talk about him, I just say, why couldn't you set that pick? We had a chance to win the game, and I missed a pick. Ivan, no, you didn't, and you didn't miss with NBIS either. Absolute rocket. See all these red candles on the 15-minute? That's how you know it's not in an uptrend. NBIS is a rocket, but there's a lot of rockets today, no questions asked. We are still getting that topping tail candle. It's about 11 o'clock right now. We are still getting a bit of that reversal candle here on the Qs, so that's pulling back off the highs. Gonna play silver back into the LOD here. And another super chat, Portugal in the house. I like it. I got a little bit of Portuguese blood in me. My grandfather was half Portuguese. Although I never cheer for them in football because I had a cousin that played for England. So by default, I cheer for Canada and I cheer for England, and that's just how I roll in the World Cup. But I don't hate on Portugal because I got some Portuguese blood. I'm actually guessing that this lunch is just going to be chicken and mashed potatoes, and the Portuguese flavor is going to be a little bit non-existent. That's what my experience tells me. But we'll let you guys know how it goes. We'll be having some fun either way. Remember, this IPO is huge notionally. It is going to have a lot of volatility, probably more from a dollar sense. It's just priced so high. It is very likely to move in a way that you haven't seen if you haven't traded these before. If you remember way back when, a few years ago, trading like Snowflake on the IPO or way back to Rivian, expect a little bit of that, I would suspect. If you have not, this one could be wild. So buckle up, it'll be a wild one. I don't think it opens up till after we've eaten lunch, but either way, it's certainly gonna open with the gentleman to my left. So you will have the pleasure of Joey Options and Sharif the Professor giving you that Cerebras IPO open whenever it does happen. All eyes on that. All eyes on all-time highs for the market as well. We'll see you back at 2, or I'll see you back at the lesson. Although sometimes, you know what, we'll see. Because sometimes I don't like, if it looks like it could be opening up soon, I don't want to be distracted. I hate to be selfish on that one, but either way, we'll be back at 2 o'clock. Good luck on Cerebras if you're taking it, and if you're not, maybe you learned something watching it. See